All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Regular Guys podcast. I'm your host, Campy5, and today we got one of my best friends on the show with us. So if you want to introduce yourself.
My name is Joe Power, and we've been friends for, as long as I've been down in Santa Clara County, man. I feel like you're one of my first and longest friends I've had here, happy to be here. This is really cool. I'm excited to be here, man.
Hell yeah. So Joe is one of my good friends, and like he said when we first met each other, it was at a cabin, and
Yeah.
we knew nothing about each other, right?
No, man. Yeah, it was like for everyone kind of tuning in here, was that like at the time, your wife's. I was talking to her cousin at the time when she happened to invite me up to the family cabin, and that was when I met Isaiah, and it was just like I just felt like we connected immediately. You know, it was just like hanging out. Your wife's family is amazing, and so it was just like seeing Randy and everybody there. It was just like a great time, and I felt like we just kind of took off from there, And then as kind of time progressed, we continued to be really good friends, And I like to think I have a knack for picking good people in my life, not always, but you learn from the other ones too. And I mean, it's been a great trip, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I remember the first thing about that was like we were hanging out and we're on the deck, and I was like, hey, you won't jump in the water right now. And then you're like, you won't. And I was like, I will if you do. And you're
God.
like, you won't jump in the water. And then I jumped in. We both jumped in. And I was like, this guy, I'd been judging you for the whole day already until that moment. But I was like, this guy had a matching G-Shocks with his tattoos, and that matched his hat. And
I was at the garage the other day. I had a couple of my old G-Shocks, and I was looking up how to switch the batteries out, dude. I was thinking about that before I came up here. I'm like, man, I should bring the old like red G-Shock, black G-Shock.
I still got mine too, but I just wear, honestly, the Apple Watch now.
Yeah,
I just always wear it because it's like if I need a text, I could text. If I could call, whatever. This even plays music. This one does. I'm like,
dude, so you went Apple Watch? Yeah, because like I've seen the Garmin ones too, and I go back and forth because like I like to go back to the analog look, or the just kind of like the old, leather band. But then I feel like everything's more conducive to like just everything nowadays, keeping in touch with your family, having like just go. I go back to the Apple Watch. My only complaint though is like I feel like the battery life.
Yeah, the battery life's horrible, to be honest. And that's why I used to try to track my habits and stuff, and I had a Whoop strap, and I thought that was cool because that lasted like 5 or 6 days, and then you just clip on a little square that's the charger, and it would charge it maybe within like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and it was good for another couple days, right?
Too.
And Apple, like I feel like if you go to sleep with it, you're gonna have to charge it when you wake up, and then it's not tracking for the full day. So
it's like I sweat like crazy when I work out too, so it's like all of a sudden the workout goes off. Then I'm wearing it for sleep, and it's like, okay, I don't need a watch to tell me I have really crappy sleep.
Yeah.
So I wake up and like, ooh, yeah.
Oh, and then to progress that, the sleep, now we have a bed, the sleep number.
Oh, yeah.
And that, it's actually really accurate. I'm like, oh, I got up to go to the restroom twice in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And there's 2 red spots right there out of bedtime with the amount of time, like 2 minutes out. I'm like, damn, that's okay. So now I'm like, okay, I don't really care about tracking the sleep from my watch, but I'm just curious. I've just been curious how accurate it is. And, there's people that actually have all of them.
Yeah.
And then they test all of it, and they show like, oh, well, this performs better in this aspect and X, Y, Z. But
I got Anadine, my wife, the Aura ring. Like she really likes it. Yeah. So it's like, something a little bit more low profile, and then you can track everything there, with all those. And good friend of mine I work with, he has the Garmin watch, and that one has a longer battery life. But yeah, dude, pricey.
But the Aura watch, the Aura ring also, you can't really work out with it, right? It advises you shouldn't work out with it.
I'd have to ask her about that, but yeah, I assume so. Just like for me, like even I'll take my ring off when I'm working out, just because the metal will grind on it. Yeah. And the next thing you know, you got scratches, you got everything. So it's like I could see that, especially it's like a kind of I wouldn't say bulkier ring, but you start, messing around with that, you're going to damage it,
And that's why the good old...
The silicone, dude.
Yeah. I've had this since, I think, the first week that I was, that I went back to work when I was married.
Yeah.
One of my buddies, Cabrera, shout out Cabrera, he was like, "Oh, let me see your hand," and he grabbed my hand and crunched it.
Yeah.
And obviously the cobalt's not moving anywhere.
Oh,
And
I know,
my
right?
freaking fingers just crunched around. I was like, I'm like, never again. Never wore that.
I gotta get those ones because like I ordered the wrong size, and then like, dude, I'm not even talking like the first week of work. We're talking about like wearing my ring at work, and then I'm like, I'm just accident prone. I'm worried that you hear the stories of like a guy getting his hand crushed, and then next thing you know, like you can't get the ring off, or like catching it on things. And sure enough, like I'm on the top of the rig, and like the diamond plate like just happens to catch it, and I get like a pretty gnarly scratch, but enough to be like, ooh. You know, and so like a lot of the times I'll try to be cognizant of that and like put it on like a key ring or something.
Yeah.
But like as time's going on, either I don't lose it, but I leave it at the station, or like I leave it in my truck. So I'm like, I need to have like a more like definitive way of doing it. But it's like tattooing it on your finger or getting a smaller silicone ring.
I know, and you're the guy for the tattoos. I would be surprised that you haven't done that already.
When are you gonna get yours, man?
Never. I don't like. Honestly, I was thinking if I got a tattoo, it would be like an American flag, like on my chest or like on my pec. But I'll probably never get a tattoo. I don't know. I'm just not like.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, knowing me, I would have to go full, like,
go all or nothing,
exactly, and I would probably be covered, and that's a lot of money.
End up like me, man.
I'm already spending money on dumb hobbies that I'm trying to do.
God.
So
ain't that the truth?
But you want to crack these monsters? I know
Absolutely,
this
man.
guy here.
Dude,
There's a little tradition. So new flavor for him. The gas station didn't have the red, white, and blue, but this is the Monster Ultra Punk Punch, which has been pretty good, honestly. It tastes like a less carbonated, or actually decent. It tastes similar to that Shasta fruit punch. Shasta Tiki Punch.
Well, I remember the Shastas, dude. You'd get them at like
the dollar store.
The dollar store, or like the Safeway vending machine for like $25, dude. Shasta grape was my jam, dude. Oh yeah. This reminds me of the Rockstar Punch. Like when we worked the ambulance a lot, dude, that was my go-to, was like Rockstar Punches, and then any kind of stuff you could grab at the gas station. Ooh, that's delicious.
But yeah, hell yeah. So I got a couple new things now. I know for the people who have been keeping up with the video, we got a couple new chairs. We got a table. And the wife found out I got a new camera.
Well, the one podcast ago, you were talking about, hey, dude, when I know I want something, I want something.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, I'm going to be able to take pictures of the family now when I get to there. So I got a camera that's good enough for high quality pictures and video. So
yeah,
I've been really like digging videography, and I've always had a passion for it, to be honest. Like in high school, I took a multimedia class, and we were making videos, and we're in group projects and stuff, and always doing another video for the projects that we had, obviously, that were due.
Yeah.
And I really just enjoyed it all the time. Like I loved being recorded when we were doing dumb things, and I loved recording and trying to get like different angles and trying to do different things with the camera. And I just never had like a good camera or good equipment. So I'm trying to, maybe I'm fulfilling one of my
Dude, you never know, man. I know what you mean too. It was like, I think maybe it was that generation growing up when we used to like watch CKY2K and like the Jackass movies. And you'd run out with your skateboards and like, film each other doing stuff, and it was just like a blast. I remember like rocking the old school like VHS recorder, like we're trying to jump downstairs and stuff. And then that kind of evolved into, it's kind of funny you say that, because I feel like I do like the videography side of things, but I'll try to shy away from it just because I feel like you get really nervous when you get in front of a microphone and then you're like bumbling over words. But like in football, high school football, I remember we were getting into like cutting all the tapes and everything. And like I'd go into the computer sciences class, and our wide receiver coach, I believe, and our defensive backs coach, he was doing all the cutting. And then I started kind of helping him out a little bit. And my dad was really into that too. Like, so he started helping out, and I was like, this is actually kind of fun, picking and splicing and doing all the highlights, so I totally get it, man.
Yeah.
Made some pretty interesting videos along the way.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's those videos that I've taken on my like mom's old cameras and stuff. And nothing like too crazy, but I'm like, damn, where did that memory card go? Like, oh, I hope it's somewhere like saved. But
that's
sometimes my mom and sister, we have a little group chat, and they'll send videos, and it was like from like 2012 or 2010 or 8 when we had like a camera.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I haven't seen that video in years. I remember exactly what I was doing when that video, you know.
Oh my gosh,
and,
absolutely.
So those are always like cool to look back on. But
I do have a question for you though.
Yeah.
When you think of videography, like what's the original video that you were shooting that kind of comes to mind? Like, was it like an embarrassing home video? Was it kind of like, you know, something that you were doing for school, or like, is there something that you like sticks in your head?
like a video that we made, honestly, was we like remade the story Beowulf.
Yeah, dude. He comes into the dining hall.
Yeah. So we did some crazy shots with that, and like fighting scenes and like murder scenes.
Or like the monster name like Grendel or something like
that.
Yeah, dude. How's that, dude?
So that, or I remember we started filming a documentary on me.
No,
like messing around. Like I don't even think we finished it.
Yeah.
But I remember there's this girl, and she was super short. She was probably like 5 foot, maybe even 5'10" or 4'10", 5 foot.
Yeah.
And I told her, this was after my first knee surgery too, and I thought I was like all back and everything. And I remember I was like, hey, stand right here, record this on the documentary. I want to jump over you.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm going up to plant. I plant my leg, my like knee buckles. I jump over her, and my midsection just took her shoulders out.
Just pancaked her.
And she falls on the ground. It's like at the time we were seniors, so 17, 18-year-old little girl that's like tinier than me. I'm 17, 18, but I'm still 200 pounds. You know?
Yeah.
And I trampled her, and I felt so bad. And I don't know if they had that recorded or if they didn't, but
I'd pay good money to see that.
That would be a good video to like find. And
absolutely.
But
man.
no, it's been fun. Like even recording just every day and trying to see like new trends, or not just recording myself for like the workouts, but like just doing life activities, going to the park, or just sitting here, or even this, like clipping stuff from the podcast, or even the workouts that we do through the night, or one of the random nights, or on Sundays. So
yeah,
it's just, and it's crazy what like some videos won't hit, and I'll edit it for a while, and then it's just like dead.
Yeah.
And then I post a video for like 5 seconds and have some saying, and it blows up. And I'm like, I don't know the algorithm yet.
Yeah.
And it's very confusing, I would say.
Oh, I can only imagine, man.
But I try not to I tell myself I don't get too caught up on like the views and the likes and stuff like that. Is if I like it, then I like it. And I'm like, well, my wife likes it. She told me, because I always ask her, look at this. Do you think this is cool? You think?
Oh, absolutely.
She's like, yeah, post it.
Well, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about too, right? Is that, you know, you want to spread a good message. It's about what you want to spread, you know? And so it's like, I think if you're just following like what you're doing right now, you're going to reach out to a lot of people, you know, and you're already, I mean, that's a testament to itself. Like just watching social media, watching your group grow. Cause I mean, what was it, like probably 3 or 4 people? And then now I saw like a post the other day, you guys had like 50 people out there. It was, so
well,
I mean,
the biggest was Father's Day, and that was 39.
Holy
but still,
shit.
I mean,
yeah, that's a lot, man.
It looks like 50 people when you're out there.
It looks like a full-on like militia out there, man.
Yeah, because no one else is out there, so it's like, all right, cool. And a couple people like weekly. It's pretty cool. And the whole reason I'm posting these videos is to reach it, but it's like weekly. We're getting new people, and new people are telling new people, and you know, it being summer right now, I think that's why it's fluctuating.
Yeah.
Like, but if everyone showed up, we would probably have 50 people.
Oh yeah.
But it's been reached out to that many. So some will come for like 4 weeks, and they're like, hey, I got vacation coming up, or, you know, I'm going to be working the next couple Sundays. They won't come for a couple weeks, and then new people will come, and then those new people won't come for a couple weeks, and the old people will come back. And it's been pretty cool. I've only missed 2 weeks. One was when I was on a cruise, and the second time was when we were in Tahoe, and I worked out both of those days though at the same time. So it's cool. There's a lot of stories out there that you would never expect someone to hear. And like, even installing the lights today, one of the guys that's in the group, he came and helped me install. He's an electrician. He has his own business.
Man, that's
And you see like the different trades from it.
absolutely. And it's like you're building a fellowship too, you know. And so each person kind of, it's like building that tribe, right? And everybody has something to bring to the table. And
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing when you empower people and what they bring to the table as well. And the next thing you know, it's like you have this, you know, which is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. And he was even like, dude, we were working out. And then he's all, at the end, we started praying. He's like, I did not expect that. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, more power to us. That's awesome. Like that someone could actually be comfortable. He's like, yeah, man, I haven't held hands with no one since I was a little kid. And, you know, and he's a grown man with kids that are graduating already.
Yep.
And he was like, you could just feel the pride and the energy from the group of, you know, when we're linked in arms, like you could feel the presence like there.
Oh, absolutely, man. You know, and I guess I'm a little different in the aspect where I try to, like, when I'm going through things, I'll try to like hole up and then just kind of run like almost like a performance needs assessment on myself, you know. But you can only do that for so long. Like you end up kind of suffering in silence, and so it's really important just through reading books and things like that over time. It's just that it's really important to surround yourself with good, positive people and have people around you who are still chasing that same mission that you are, you know. And that's what I feel like is the core of everything that you're doing right now.
Yeah, for sure. And like it's possible to do it alone. And a lot of people have said this. We have a couple lone wolves in the group before this, right? And they're like, hey, honestly, I just keep to myself, put my head down, put the work in. And that was working. But like now that I came here, it opened a whole different like aspect of thoughts for me. And it helps me tremendously. Like seeing these posts or the do's or seeing you guys work out, it gets me fired up and wants me to go do it, you know, or it holds me a little more accountable.
Yeah.
And I was like, just hearing like these stories and the way, like, I don't want to take credit. I don't ever want to take credit for anything, and I try not to, and I don't.
Yeah.
But the stories that these dudes are telling me, and then they tell me like it's because of you, and I'm like, it's just so humbling to hear when people say like because of you.
Yeah.
This is, I'm like, I don't, like I said, the whole credit thing. I don't feel comfortable like taking that credit because it's ultimately at the end of the day, I always tell them it's you guys showing up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to show up. You guys still have to show up. You guys are doing it, right?
Absolutely.
But it feels good when someone tells me like, hey, because of you, I'm changing. I changed the way I did things. Because of you, I saw this from a different aspect. Because of you, I met these other people that are in this group.
Absolutely.
Because of you, you know, I changed those bad habits that I was letting consume me. And that honestly, like it's so rewarding in so many aspects. It's like, it also holds me accountable. I'm like, hey, there's a lot of people that, you know, I've helped spark, and they don't even know that with those comments, they've helped spark me even more. Like, hey,
absolutely.
Who else, like what more could we reach out to like continue this good trend of, just being better and having like making our situations better for those around us, you know?
That just, it speaks to me a lot too, because, you know, where I work, we've changed our mission values and things like that over the years of merging agencies and things like that. But one thing is, I can't remember every single mission statement that's ever been in any department I've ever worked for, but altruism was one of the core values. And that sticks to me because of something I read a long time ago. It's just about like giving to people and not expecting anything like in return, you know. And I think especially when you get into the teaching and mentoring realm, it's about like seeing how empowered the people are that you're giving back to, and that you're empowering them to feel like the people that they look up to. And at the end of the day, it's like you can be the best possible dad, you can be the best possible, you know, person in your career, your profession, but it means nothing if you're not giving it back to people. It means nothing if you're not setting people up for the next generation of legacies. And it's not necessarily Isaiah's way, Joe's way. It's about teaching the right way to people. You know, that's just something that I've always tried to hold near and dear. And then, you know, I think that's also why we've always just gravitated a lot towards each other.
Yeah.
You know,
Like it's like when no one's looking, are you doing the right thing or the wrong thing? And honestly, when I do the wrong thing, or if I feel like it's not right, it eats me alive, like
100%.
instantly.
That's the integrity, man.
Yeah, and after the fact, it's like I'll still be thinking, I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, it's like the interview question, right? Define integrity, and And then most people always say doing the right thing even when people's back are turned. Even though that's a very recycled answer in an interview, it's so true.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, especially in the accountability mirror and things like that, like people are going to come and go in your life, but it's on you to keep having good habits and keep doing the right things, because eventually there's not going to be people around you.
Yeah.
And you have to continue to carry that message.
And you know, what's crazy is I remember we had like a little graduation party for me, and we had people over, and that was one of like the middle paragraphs. I had like, it was like 3 paragraphs. It's funny. But, and then it was like, everyone thought, you know, I was going to be the bad kid, and I've always done the right thing, and I've always prevailed even in my tough situations that I've been in. And I was always the kid, like when they were like, oh, he's actually a good kid. I was actually trying to do the right thing all the time, like ever since a young age. Cause you know, that's what was instilled in me from my grandparents and my parents. Right.
Absolutely.
And even if we didn't have the best situation, they're like, make sure, you know, that you're professional. Not, they didn't say professional, but like, make sure you're kind and make sure you're doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, that's what speaks about our name, right? It's like carrying that name, respect, is because you are doing things that are right and respectable, you know?
Well, it's really important to have people that you grow up with, and not everybody has it, and sometimes they have to acquire it later in life. But having those strong people around you that give you a sense of a moral compass, you know, and that's why it's like, I mean, we've talked a lot about how we've grown up, and you know, I surrounded myself with good people sometimes, and sometimes you ended up with, you know, bad people. But when bad people start doing bad things, that moral compass kicks in, and that was what's always kind of saved my life throughout the years, and being around so many different people. I learned from those people, but having that moral compass and having those people who instilled values in me, is that when bad things start to happen around you, it's like, no, this is not okay. I need to separate myself from this behavior. And you know, that's what kind of just saves you in a lot of really stressful situations, or just being around the wrong people sometimes.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's crazy, right? And like you said, it with understanding that, I think that's exactly why we've gravitated towards, because we just know like there's a sense that you get when you meet people.
Oh, absolutely.
And you could kind of like read it, or you feel it, or you just understand it, or God had just put that person in your life for a reason, obviously, right? And then you kind of understand, hey, this is why. And then you talk, as the years have gone on, we've understood each other really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've always been like a support system that we could rely on for one another.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that was the reason why we were supposed to be friends, because they're, you know, we know what it's like to be in the muck, and we know what it's like to have like a lot of stuff that we've worked for too.
And we loved good breweries at the beginning of our friendship.
I'm gonna bring it a little bit closer. The mic. Yeah, you can bring it to you. Yeah.
Hello.
I just want to make sure it's
all right.
But yeah, honestly, the whole brewery scene. I remember. Well, I would always invite you over to the hotel that I worked at, and we had free beers, and I was in charge of ordering it, and I always knew all the best stuff. So,
well, that was like, yeah, that was the thing too, is like when I came back, it was like where I was living was like right in downtown Morgan Hill. And so it was just like our friendship just continued. And then, yeah, you were working over at the hotel, man. And I had some really great memories there. And it was just like, I'd hop on my bike, we'd go over there, just like, you'd be kind of wrapping up the night shift. We'd have a couple beers, you know, just hanging out. And I'd ride my bike home, and had some just great memories in that hotel. And then even that, I'll never forget, that contractor that would come down and drink with us. He'd stay there in the hotel all the time.
There was a couple of them.
Regulars there. Yeah. But dude, that was like hands down the best tap room you'll ever get in a hotel. Like,
yeah. Honestly,
my man had everything on tap.
Yeah. Except for Coors Light, Modelo, Bud
right.
Light. We never had that. I literally never had that once.
Dude, I remember having, it was like orange vanilla Fathom. You had like some heavy hitting double, triple IPAs every now and again, man. Like,
growler fills.
Yep.
That would be like $60 maybe if you did it. But throw one of these in.
Finally, dude, I just started doing these. You know, I was always kind of,
Me too.
I put massive chews in all the time, but it didn't really wasn't super addictive. What's funny is that these actually, I feel the need to like pop more of these in than back when I used to like chew.
Yeah.
And it was like I started chewing. It was like my first year playing football in junior college, and like it was like the peach skull, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Like it's so terrible, you know. And then I'd watch guys like stuff it in their mouthpieces and like shove upper deckers in.
I'm getting the chills.
Well,
so,
yeah.
so people that know me, yeah, keep on. Sorry.
No, it's just like that. That was just kind of it. And then I never really felt like I had to chew all the time, but it was like then things started to like prompt me. It was like, okay, if I'm driving home or like if I'm out on a strike team or something like that, it was just like, it's Vegas, man. I'm getting logs to chew. I'm getting honeyberry backwoods. You know, I'm already sucking smoke anyways. I might as well, you know, have a little bit of flavorful smoke in there, but not good, right? By the way, if you're starting out, that's smoke exposure. You want to limit it, okay? Yeah, just so we're clear.
But yeah, that I just do it. Every now and then I'll do it just driving home.
Yeah,
like quick 20 minutes. And I don't even know why I started. I went to Mexico and I wasn't drinking, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll just try to get a Zin.
Yeah,
I had this flavor, this black cherry,
mm-hmm.
and it was so good and like subtle and not like too bad that I bought like seven of these things and I brought them home.
Well, dude, I even like the black cherry C4. Like,
yeah.
My captain I work with, he's all about those things. He goes across the street right before we're about to work out, and he's like, "I'm getting C4s," and it's like the black cherry bombsicle or something like that. It's so good. Yeah,
I got one right there, the Hawaiian Punch.
Dude, I'm
on Punch Addict right now, and that's the only ones that they had in stock. So.
I feel like the C4 is just like a throwback to the old pre-workout. You know, like the blue Raz. You know, that was always my jam. You know,
I still use C4 Ultimate as a pre-workout. I'll switch it going on. I just finished up my last one that I had, but
there's so many like pre-workouts out there now. I try to stay away from the high caffeine ones though, because you start getting like bucked up and all those. There's like,
I know 400
milligrams. Like I don't even know what I would do with 400 milligrams of caffeine.
So the last time I did a 400 milligram pre-workout, which was like years ago, I fucking was like, I was all tired. I was like nodding off. I was like, what the fuck's wrong? Like, and like it would make my stomach feel like upset. And I was like, damn, this is, but it literally, I don't know. You could take something with less and the right ingredients and feel way better. But yeah, I remember taking a high caffeine one and it was just, people will look at it and be like, oh, it has this much caffeine? All right, cool. I'm going to take this. Sometimes the recipe doesn't work.
What you don't really realize too, and I kind of learned it from some of like the health nuts out there, is that you have like your adrenals, right? So the more caffeine you send to them over and over again, like you just basically like eliminate your body's ability to manufacture that you know, the adrenal response and be able to pick you up in your natural energy. So like I'll go, especially just like kind of talking about strike teams a little bit, we go out there and you got to be up for a long amount of time. So we end up starting with like Gatorades, waters, and then all of a sudden the energy drinks start coming in. And so it's like by the end of like a 14 days out there, I'll go from like just getting onto a strike team and having maybe just like a cup of coffee in the morning, and that'll get me going. Mm-hmm. But by the end of those 14 days, like I'll ingest like 1,000 milligrams of caffeine in 24 hours. I'm going to dump in water into myself as well.
Yeah.
And you're fighting to stay awake. And that's where it's like best thing you can do. It's super hard to do, but like go like 14 days without caffeine. And then all of a sudden you have that cup of coffee and you're like, I'm ready to go.
This is what it's supposed to do.
This is how it's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like with the Zins, people will like do a bunch and I do one and I still like, I'm feeling good, like a little mellow.
Yeah.
Like the first week, I remember I was still like, I can't.
Well, do you start to get kind of like sick when you do like the sixes and stuff like that? Or
I haven't done the sixes. I know my limits. And call me a pussy, call me whatever you want, but
well, you know me, dude. I just dive into things both feet.
Yeah,
so it's like we're out doing some training, and this guy happened to have a bunch of them. I'm like, give me those, you know, and like they were all sixes, so I just take 2 of them at a time and start shoving them in my mouth. I'm like, ooh, I don't feel good right now.
Yeah,
you know, and so I'm at the threes too. I do like though with these is I remember reading about like Aubrey Marcus, the dude who does like On It supplements and all that. Mm-hmm. Talks about nicotine in certain doses actually like helps you with focus and things like that. But like everything, you know, like you don't want to abuse it. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, right?
Shit, well, doing this and playing softball, I would probably freak out. But I've always been that way. Like in beer leagues, softball beer leagues and stuff, I wouldn't drink until after. But I can't because I like panic. Yeah, it's weird, and that's like I'm not in my full state. I'm like, if I drink a beer, I'm gonna get dehydrated. I'm gonna pull my hamstring, and like I think of that like the domino effect, right? But yeah. So let's get into about you.
Okay.
So I'd say let's just start with your childhood. So originally, another random link that we had was talking about freaking Jackson, California.
Oh man, yeah, Jackson, man.
So that's, were you born in Jackson or?
No, I was born in San Bruno. It's kind of like, it's a long story, but you know, we got time. Basically, like my mom and my dad moved out there from Colorado at the time. My mom, she grew up in the East Coast, from like kind of that proper New England kind of feel, like where everything like down to like how you set the table, your table manners, things like that. Very, very proper. Her and her sister got into flute and voice, and then they did really well for themselves. And so eventually my dad, who was working as he was doing he was a concert pianist. He was doing like his education. He made the switch to like biotech and being like a chemist, biochemist, biotechnologist.
A genius.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's insane, man. I don't know. The acorn fell far from the apple tree, my friend. But yeah, he got a job out here for Genentech in San Bruno in South City at the time, and then they branched away from that company and created another company called Genencor. And when we came out here, we didn't have a lot of money. It's so crazy to think about housing values nowadays, because he bought our house in San Bruno on Olive Court for, I think it was $110,000. And he tells a story. He had to go ask for a loan from my mom's family, and they're like, this is a crazy amount to ask for a place, and like San Bruno was very much like a working class community. Like nowadays, like, YouTube campuses have blown it up. It's like, it's insane how much the property values are. But yeah, we lived in that home. Initially I had an older brother, older sister, 5 years older and 4 years older. And yeah, we lived there until second grade, and then moved to Foster City. Then my folks split up in Foster City. But I was super blessed, because despite like divorce, which is always going to weigh heavy on your family, my parents worked hard to keep everything together and keep it in-house. That's the one thing I'm very blessed about, because you run into stories where kids are caught in the middle a lot. And that was something I could really, I just had a lot of pride
forced
in.
to pick sides.
Forced to pick sides. I mean, you hear the story. I mean, we have jobs where there's divorces all the time, and it's just, it turns sometimes like the absolute worst out of people. And
Unfortunately.
you hear, oh my gosh, yeah. And so yeah, my mom moved up to Jackson, and that's where like fifth grade up and through high school, that's where I lived. Bouncing around schools and stuff, it was always kind of tough finding a place to fit in, but it also made you like very dynamic and just kind of being more open to people, and not necessarily having to run the crowd, but just to figure out like how to fit in and learn new things. So yeah, going from living in the peninsula, like being a skater kid, going to like the shops and getting the decks of cards and things and rolling around like and getting Jolt Cola and stuff, to all of a sudden being up in the mountains, in the country. But for the kids, it didn't change much. Like we still were into bikes, we're still into skateboards, and that was where it opened the window for sports. My family was very much into like music, so they believed, especially like, I mean, my background, my grandfather, he really set the table for our family. Coming home from World War II, he was in Europe and the Pacific, but he was very big on, hey, we didn't have money growing up. His whole story is probably an entire other podcast, but he wanted to make sure that we had educations to fall back on in case things didn't happen in life, and have the things that he grew up not having. So that was a big thing that was hammered to us, was education, learning music, learning different things. But to me, growing up, dude, like I didn't want to be in a class. I didn't want to learn to play trumpet or piano and things. So like that stuff was like almost like an ADHD kid. You just fell off after like a handful of lessons and things. So got into sports, got into judo. That was kind of one of the big ones. And then started getting into football, and then eventually wrestling and track. And that was kind of the cornerstone for my life too, was that just learning about how to work as a team, how to work individually, like team-based sports a lot, having to share common goals, having to put things above yourself, having to be a cog in a much bigger wheel, especially in football. I played both ways. I was kind of one of those kids that didn't have a lot of natural talent, but just worked really, really hard. So I'd start, initially I wasn't starting. And then I eventually just started working really hard, made my way to the starting roster. We had some really good teams. It was kind of like the typical Friday Night Lights, like the whole town would shut down to come see you. Our field was like an old swamp that was drained, so it had a huge like berm across the top. Everyone backed their trucks up on there and honked their horns on every touchdown. And then I initially wanted to be a cop.
That was air gun?
Argonaut.
Argonaut.
Yeah, Aragon's
Argonaut.
the rich kid school
Okay.
over there in San Mateo. But
That's the school you would go to now if you went. No, I'm kidding.
You ain't wrong, man. I was a public school kid through and through, and then went down to Modesto Junior College with my friends to go play football.
Yeah.
And that was when I realized I wasn't going to go to the NFL anytime soon. When the linemen at that point I was playing linebacker, and I realized I pushed my weight to 238. I was like the whole birth of Andro and Treneball and stuff. So I was like an absolute juice monkey, dude. Just I had way too much muscle on my frame. So started getting hurt. And then I was like, all right, I got to pivot and see what I want to do.
Yeah. So you said you originally wanted to be a cop too?
Yeah, I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to go in the military. And then when I got out of high school, like around middle school, I had a seizure, and it was they didn't really know what caused it. They kind of summed up to just taking a lot of hits in football. So when I was in high school, I had to be on like these meds that were like constantly clouding me all the time, and that's also something that I think about where it's like if you can do things as holistically as possible, like you don't realize the side effects of things. Whereas like I was drinking tons of energy drinks just to stay awake in class, throw in like ADHD, not wanting to be in class. So it took me a while to actually like take school seriously. And yeah, man, made it down to college, started playing football, and then eventually got into since the military didn't work out for me. Sorry, jumping around stories, but once I signed up to go in the military, my senior year, they caught that I had a previous history of taking medicines, and they were like, it was kind of like post 9/11, like everyone was wanting to
The
go
hype.
in, the
Yeah.
hype, right? And so they're like, hey man, sorry, you can't go. So that was when I pivoted, started playing some junior college football and hanging out with friends, and got myself into some trouble, but kept a good narrow head as well. And then my buddy just showed me a fire class by chance, and he was just like, "Hey man, come check this out with me." And for anyone who doesn't really know about Modesto, they have a really good fire science program, a giant regional fire training facility. I think it's one of the top in the nation, and they have really strict standards, and they hold their guys accountable there. So yeah, I started taking fire science classes, and then eventually went into the academy. And much like a lot of the things in my life, that's like I feel like I always have to have setbacks that motivate me to really dial things in. They used to have a make it or break it day there.
Yeah.
And you had to throw a 35, then there was a fixed 35-foot ladder going up to the third floor, I believe. You had to tie off the hose with your gloves on and everything. And then it was a charge line. You go up 35, pull the entire hose up through the window. You have to tie it off a certain way. Everything's an automatic fail too. Like if you don't hit these marks, they're immediately cutting you out. And you can only fail one test in the entire academy before they bounce you out. So you pull this hose all the way through the window, then you advance it all the way through the third, like Division 3 essentially, right? And then there's a burn room. You have to mask up with your gloves on. You have to go in there and you fight the fire, and that's kind of like that's the first fire you get to fight, right? It's a big propane prop. A lot of guys, they all like, whether they pull their hoods out of their masks, their gloves, they don't hit times. A lot of people fail in that drill. I made it through that drill. Everything was great. And then we started having midterms, and I didn't show up like that day. I accidentally failed two evolutions, and then I had to come back and repeat the entire process. So it was a very humbling moment, especially since I was going through the academy with one of my best buds that I'd known since 5th grade. And then he was my ride home. We lived together at the time, so I had to sit outside like in the rain until he was done. And that just kind of motivated me. Like I threw a pity party for a while. And I feel like you always have to, just own your mistakes and move on and pick up, especially if it's like I knew in my heart of hearts, like I wanted to be a fireman. Like that's all I ever wanted to do. So it was like, okay, being young, you kind of blame things for a while. And then, my dad's always been good about like, okay, dude, like enough is enough. Let's pick ourselves up and let's figure out how we're going to fix this. Right. So I went back, and even the instructors told me later, like, dude, like me and this other guy came back, and he's a captain now. He's very successful in his career, but it's like not a lot of people come back. It's like having to face like failing in front of your peers, having to face, just yourself, that you came up short that day. And we came back and went through the academy and passed it. And I lived in the Central Valley for like 10 years. Man, it was hard because in 2008, so I graduated in fall of 2007, and then the economy crashed. It was like, bam. Like next thing you know, there's no jobs for firemen anywhere. And so we were literally like fighting for jobs just to get like a paid call fire position places, like there was like applicants, the number that you see nowadays just to go like work and run fires for $10 a call or for a shift stipend, and it was kind of special. Like when we're getting out of academy, there's happened to be something kind of bad that happened, at a neighboring department where they had to clean house and basically lay off like 80% of the firefighters there. Another neighboring department had to come in and take over 911 operations so they could fill the seats. So he was Eric Klevmeyer is a guy that was managing the regional fire training center at the time, doing a lot of the equipment and stuff. Now I think he's like a fire marshal or something. But he came into the class at the time being affiliated with Keys Fire. And anyone who doesn't know Keys, I don't blame you. It's a really small town, so unless you are really affiliated with the Central Valley, you don't really know it. But it's sandwiched up between Ceres and parts of Modesto and parts of Turlock. Very poor community. The citizens love you there because you're just there to help all the time. But he came in, he said, hey, we don't have a lot to pay, but if you guys want some great experience, we're hiring, and we're probably going to hire as many as we can get. And so it's very atypical, but it was like all of a sudden, like 80% of our academy put in, and like we all got picked up. So you imagine like this entire department being run by guys who were fresh out of the academy and maybe a handful of really senior dudes that could stick around. It was like Animal House, man. It was so much fun. And that was where I just really got bitten by the bug. I was there for 2.5 years. I got picked up with my first CDF position, now Cal Fire. And that was also another very humbling moment as well, because there was just some straight hitters out there, some guys who were just absolutely amazing at their job. I think maybe it came with not having a lot of positions out there. Like right now, you can move departments, you can move up if it's pay you want, if it's specialties, if it's something else. If you have the right credentials, you can pretty much move anywhere if you're willing to sacrifice your seniority and your pay rates and things like that. But back then, it was like guys were just holding on to positions. You saw like 10-year seasonals, and man, dude, like they were running circles around me. So it was like that was when I realized, I'm like, shoot, I got to start kicking up my physical fitness.
Yeah, if you want to hang with the dogs,
dude, 100%
outworking them.
Yeah, and you can either like get bitter about it or be like, oh, woe is me, they're picking on me or something like that, or you can be like, hey, you know what, like, yeah, I am on the back of the pack on the hikes. Yeah, like I need to pick it up a little bit, and that was like I had my 21st birthday on the fire line. Like station fire, it's crazy, massive fire down in Southern California. And it was just, that was just something I've always been extremely passionate about. And yeah, so I did that for a while. And then I decided to make medic school because guys weren't getting hired at all. So you'd hear kind of the term, like, if you want to get hired, go to medic school. I never wanted to be a paramedic. Like, to me, I wanted to be a truckie. I wanted to break glass, kick ass. Running medicals was something I didn't even know the fire department did until I started doing it. And so the writing was on the wall. I moved out of Keys into Westside Modesto into another really cool department, Woodland Avenue Fire. Very true volunteer department, ran all by like farmers, the local community. They would just race to the station. You'd have the minitors, and you just see like white trucks everywhere, boots flying, guys jumping on rigs. One of those moments where like you don't realize just how much fun you're having in the moment because you're obsessed with getting like the big paid job. But then you look back and you're like, oh my God, I had some great memories with these guys. So yeah. I moved out to Westside Modesto. I did that, and at the same time, I went to medic school. I didn't actually end up going back to Cal Fire. There was a thing where they'd have to sign something to go from 3 on an engine to 4, and the governor was holding out at the time to up staff, to save money and things like that. So I'm waiting for my call back. I'm realizing it's not going to happen. It's getting later in the season. Went to medic school, and so now I had to like really humble myself and start. I'm like, what am I going to do for work now? If I'm going to be going back to school, I got to find another job. So still going to school at junior college, and then I took a job at an Army surplus store. And it happened to also be like the 511 Outfitters, which is like the brand for, police, fire, law enforcement, things like that. So they happened to be sizing up the very few people that would get hired and get jobs. And so to go from a moment of like, and when I worked at Cal Fire or CDF, I was working at Amador El Dorado unit, which is Jackson. It's my hometown. Like to me, it's like, I don't care about the pay. Like this is amazing. Like I'm a hometown hero. I'm running around. Like this is all I ever want to do. And so going to medic school and jumping into all that. I'm sorry, my brain's racing a little bit. But I didn't really know all the other avenues. And then I started getting into medic school, and then I was working in the Army surplus store. So it was like really a humbling moment because you had to come in and like fit your buddies who were testing because you all knew each other. Like I was taking tests in Seattle. I was driving all the way down to El Cajon in San Diego just to like get interviews, and things like that. And so we were all on the same route, the same trips, going out and trying to test. And it's like, man, nothing's like a crazier moment than like you got to choke your pride down. You got to be happy for that person, but in the back of my mind, like, man, like I'm going to be there someday. And what I'm going through right now, it sucks, but I just got to keep going. And so I started working there, and then the guy, like the owners are great, but and I have to respect him on this too, but he's like, hey Joe, like he'd see me studying my flashcards all the time in paramedic school. And like for me, like if I'm really, my heart isn't into what I'm doing, like I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not that good at it when I'm doing it, like I'm a subpar employee. And so he like comes over to me and he's like, I don't pay you to study medic school. I'm like, okay. And then he gives me one warning saying, he's like, Joe, put the flashcards away. Like, I don't pay you to be, to study. And so eventually we sit down. I'm like, hey, I got to go where my heart is right now. And I have to study. I have things that I want to do. And so I ended up quitting that job, and I still had to pay rent. I still had to figure out my bills at the time. I still had to keep the money going just to pay for the fuel to go interview and things like that. And so I just, same thing, like living by that perspective. You give yourself like 24 hours, throw a pity party about what you're going on. And then you just pick yourself up and you keep moving. And so I started applying at all the hospitals. Eventually got a job as an ER tech in Kaiser Modesto. Worked there for 4 years with some great people. I learned some great medicine. One of my best buds to this day, he's an ER physician now out in Florida, but just I learned so much stuff from them. And the other thing too is like once you make that jump into paramedicine, it's all on you. And that's, I used to tell everybody go to medic school, but once I made that jump into medic school, and we can talk about that a little later, it's just that that's a lot to take, especially everything that goes on, even the stuff that's out of your control. You take that all home with you all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's tough, but I was just being able to be in the ER and watch those physicians do it and be on a third person perspective of it. It's not all on you. So you're watching them and you're questioning what their medicine is, how they're doing things, how the nurses are reacting around you. And it's not necessarily all on you in that moment. So I was sitting there just taking mental notes, figuring out what they needed to do, being the guy that was going to hand the tools to them without them even asking me. All the time just studying and going through medic school. And there was like setbacks in medical school too. Our school shut down. The lady that was running the school declared bankruptcy so we couldn't get our money back. We had to go to NCTI in Livermore and Roseville and challenge tests. And then they told us our stuff that was in clinicals and in our internships wasn't legit. So we had to start over. Do all of our PEPs, which is pediatric education for pre-hospital providers, all of our advanced medical life support after challenging all of their tests, start over again. 180 hours of clinical internship, doing deliveries, intubations, shocking, drugs, all that. Then you have to go on your field internship, another 480 hours. So I did double internships, double clinical rotations, but I just kept going. My head was down.
That's what, like you said, that's what you knew you wanted to do, and that's what you're setting your
absolutely
standard too.
Yeah, and so there was a point where I was working 3 jobs, and then I got hired as an intern for a short stint. Stanislaus Consolidated, but at that point, I'd gotten out of a relationship I was in for 5 years, and I didn't really have much. I had my dog. I had my sister that lived around the corner. I had some really good friends around the area, but I was like, hey, if I'm going to do something big, I got to do it now. And I always thought about like driving over to see my dad in the Bay Area and stuff, like going over the San Mateo Bridge and just thinking, man, I bet you these guys run jobs. I bet you they just do the craziest stuff over here. I bet you it's just nuts, Like, it's like, you know what? I'm going to go try to be a Bay Area firefighter. So I saw that there were paramedic positions up and down the county. It was a hard testing process, but I got picked up with at the time I was working in the ambulance, I was working in the hospital, then I was working fire. I took a leap and I applied for Santa Clara County AMR. And so for kind of listeners out there, Santa Clara County, they have a ton of different fire departments all around there, but then the EMS system, the 911 is private based. So that means like a company like Rural Metro that came in for a little bit, AMR, they come in and they do bids for services on the contract. So
you were pro transport?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was pro transport for like 3 months. Like,
I know that's one of the things you're like, you motherfucker, I'm not that.
How dare you?
So I just
BLS transport, not a chance.
I still always fuck with him and always say, you're just a pro transport kind of EMT guy. Or?
Oh my gosh, make no mistake, this guy did some ride-alongs with me too. We had some fun. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh man.
No, I'm sorry, but so your EMS, you're explaining about.
No.
Santa Clara County.
Yeah, I'll talk for hours, man. But it's just, man, I was down there. I made the jump, and at the time they were running these 16-hour cars, which were absolutely brutal. And at the time they were averaging I think it was 500 calls in a 24-hour shift amongst the entire county, averaging about 330 transports. You run the 911 contract from Palo Alto all the way down south of Gilroy. You run as far as east as Pacheco Pass, and you run as far west as to the top of 17, to the top of Ecker Pass, Pacheco, all these kind of areas. So you have a huge district. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to jump in with both feet. The gal that was working at Oak Valley as our manager, she had a San Jose background. She happened to be heading back for another job. So she got me a job there, and it was crazy. just 14 calls in 12 hours. You're getting held over every single shift, 2.5 hours. They would call it SDO1 because there weren't enough ambulances there to cover you when you were getting off duty. So they could hold you over up to 2.5 hours before they would absolutely have to down the car. So every single shift, and talking to some of the guys who are still down there, it sounds like it's
Same thing,
same
but
old,
worse,
if not
maybe.
worse. Like I wasn't around for COVID in that county. County I work in now, like we're not slow, but like we're busy-ish, you know, like to give you an idea, the engine company that I work out of right now, we have an engine truck house. Depending on the year, you're about 24 to 2,700 calls a year on the engine, and then the truck is around 1,000, give or take. But you go to like San Jose and these other areas, these poor guys are running like 5,000 calls on an engine.
Okay.
Absolutely insane. Like no time to breathe, eat, nothing. We're busy enough that it gets in the way of our day, but it's like you're getting in the way. Like by getting away, it's like you're out doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know? But yeah, yeah, it's been a long ride.
And then after, how long did you work with Santa Clara County?
So I worked there for a little over 3 years. I worked on the east side a lot. You know, there's like the 30s units, give or take, but I also kind of took the just any kind of positions, because when you go out on the bid, you don't necessarily get like the top position. So like the good positions in Santa Clara County were like South County, so they call it, like
Medic
Morgan
55.
Hill, Medic 55, Medic 51, you know. Yeah, dude, those are the cush ones. So I'd pick up overtime down there because I lived in Morgan Hill, and it was awesome. Like you saw that,
Yeah.
you know, like. But most of the time I'd be getting shipped up to, you know, where the vast majority of calls were. I did some FTO ship time there. I did some preceptor time there. I had various students. I think teaching's always been in my background through my parents and through my family and everything, but also like, I don't know about you, because I know you were saying you've been taking on different roles now where you're working, but I learn the most by teaching people. So like I'll get the material, I'll still feel like my mind's blown. I'll go through the material myself, do the material, but then when you actually teach it to somebody, I feel like that's when it really solidifies. So that's honestly, I do it in a selfish way to make sure that I'm good at my job.
Holding yourself accountable.
Absolutely, you know. And so I was down there doing that for a while, and then I realized really quickly, I'm like, man, I miss the firehouse. Like this is crazy. Like I eventually, you know, lived with my dad for a little bit, moved back down because I was trying to live in Central Valley at the same time. And you work a 16-hour shift, which gets pulled over into 18 and a half hours. You only have, it's every other day, 4:30 to 8:30 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get off, you sleep, and then you literally have to get up in the middle of the day and go right back to work. Like you have less than 24 hours. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you this. You work the
Yeah,
3 on 4 off, right? Give or take 4 on 3 off. So yeah, I was like, I got to do something. So I was at a crossroads because I still wasn't getting hired full time, like as a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them was like me dropping the ball in interviews or not following through, you know, like it's a learning process. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it hell. I'm gonna try the hardest. I'm gonna follow through on every single interview, regardless of if I'm gonna be late to the interview or if I didn't prepare. Like I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna do as many. I'm gonna attack it for the next year and
prepare yourself and
and then you know just kind of like you know. PACE method, right? Have a primary plan in place, an alternative plan, a contingency, and an emergency. So it's like my primary was firefighter, but I was starting to look at like alternatives where I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm actually kind of good at this medicine stuff, even if it's burning me out. Maybe I'll go be a flight medic next. So I was going to give it hell for a year, and then if that didn't work out, I was going to be a flight medic. And just by chance, it's just like everyone says, like you're trying, and then you get a ton of job offers all at once. It was insane, like, and it happened like that, and it was really cool too. I met my wife when I was working in AMR on the ambulance, and then she was just all in about everything. It was just like, it was always like, what can I do to help you? Like, you know, and so when I'd go up to do like, you'd go up and you'd go up to the city before your interview. You'd try to go to do station visits. You'd bring people stuff, you know, to show that, you know, hey, I'm thankful for the time that you're, you know, here answering questions out of all the other stuff that you have to do in the day. So I was going up doing this with so many departments. We turned it into date days. So like go up, I'd drop her off somewhere, you know, like for example, when I tested up in like Petaluma, Santa Rosa area, she'd go to Russian River, or she'd go to like, there was this cool bar like on the river. She'd go do some things while I'm doing my interview or my station visits, and then we'd go have a date afterwards. And so that was like a really fun process for us, like going all over the state and doing that. Yeah, man. And it was just, it was a long process getting hired, but then it just happened. And then I had a couple job offers. My dad, he lives in Woodside now up on Skyline. So he was like, Woodside, you gotta get hired with Woodside, you know, and great guys out there, just solid guys. I was testing all over the place, and I just happened to have Chiefs interviews with Woodside and San Mateo at the same time. And so like being in the peninsula, it's still a bunch of small departments. Our department's trying to consolidate and merge everything together. But there's also just like still a lot of small town fire department aspects there. So like the chiefs know all the chiefs, you know, like the captains and the captains. We all see each other in strike teams. We all see each other on different jobs. And so I'm in the chiefs interview with our current ones. It was a Kent Thrasher, John Healy, and man, I think it might have been Chief Scott at the time. Difficult to remember, but we're sitting in there and he tells me, Kent, who's just one of the most amazing guys you'll ever meet. He's just like, all right, you know, if you end up getting another job offer, like, let me know, you know, because we are trying to put a list together, and, you know, if something comes up, we'd like to try to offer you something if everything gets squared away. So I'm driving home. I talk to my dad. I'm telling him how stoked I am. I thought the interview went well. And then I get an email from Woodside that says, like, please show up on Thursday to discuss a job offer, you know. And so I'm like, crap. I'm like, oh man, you know, this is happening. And then, so I'm like, oh, okay, I got to honor what San Mateo said to me as well. And Chief Thrasher, at the time we were merging Belmont, San Mateo, and Foster City. Chief Thrasher was our hazmat chief, and he was also the chief of Belmont at the time. He immediately calls me, like, I don't know, it was like 30 minutes later. Like, I didn't even make it to my dad's house yet. He's like, hey, buddy. He's like, because I sent him an email saying, hey, just a heads up, I'm discussing a job offer with Woodside coming up. And he's like, hey, buddy, I know that you got a job offer, but I want you to come by the station and see what we have to offer. And like, in the fire world, that's non-existent. It's always like, hey, what can you bring to us? You know, like, hey, we'll let you know when your job offer's here. And in the meantime, like, just be thankful that you're part of this process.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy. So I show up and like, man, it's like being the pretty girl at the party, dude. Like, he's like, hey, show me the station. Dude, yeah, drive me around, show me all the stations. They had a drill going on at 14. And I'm like, man, you know, and then we got back to the table and he, you know, shows me their MOU. And this is something for people who are getting hired out there. There's a lot of different things in the realm. Like, you'll see like a wage rate, and you'll always kind of like, your eyes will lock into that for your salary, right? But then there's also like incentives, you know, so staying motivated to go to paramedic school, staying motivated to do all these other things, you earn percentage increases on your pay. And so that also goes with you for retirement. That goes with you that you can have, you know, when you're later on in life when you retire. So he showed me, he's like, hey, we don't necessarily pay as much as Woodside. He's like, but we do have a lot of incentives in here. And, you know, you saw what we have to offer. And to me, that meant more than any other test I'd ever done, any other job offer. I came home and like, it was hard because like, I don't say no to my dad a lot. Like, he's just like, to me, like, especially how successful he is in life. It's just like, it's just
he knows
the dominating presence, you know? And so it's like, I'm like, Dad, I hear you, Woodside, but like my heart is saying, you know, I want to go with Belmont. And so I showed up to that meeting in Woodside on Thursday, and I believe it was Dan Giorso at the time and another guy. I think he's actually now the chief of Woodside. But they sit down and like they pass the letter to me, like, okay, we want you to start showing up on these days and getting known. I'm like staring at the letter. I'm like, oh shit. I'm thinking like, oh man, like I know where I want to go. And they're like, what's wrong? Like, who got to you? You know, I'm like, oh, and I tell them, I'm like, hey, you know, with all due respect, I'm really honored for this spot, but I can't help but feel like, and I told them like, hey, I got a job offer from Belmont, and so he's like, okay, you know, you got to go where your heart is, and so they were respectful about it, and I ended up going with San Mateo, and the rest was kind of history.
Yeah,
you know, I've been there now coming up 10 years. It's been
that's crazy, and you said you started your fire career in 2008.
2008, January of 2008. If you want to throw the pre-service academy in there, it'd be fall. Well, if you want to go way back to even the first academy being bounced out, it was spring of 2007.
Yeah. So it's coming up on 20 years. Dude. And you're only 37?
38, man. I'll be 39 in November, dude.
God
oh
damn.
My God. Yeah.
Jeez, you're old. But that's, I mean, it just shows like you've dedicated your life to this career field, and you know you're still doing it, and you're still having fun, and you're still progressing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're still hungry, and like I remember every time we talk, it's like what's been new at work, and it's like to show that with those years on, you're still learning.
You got to challenge,
and that's
yourself.
the coolest thing, right?
Absolutely. And I don't tell you that, you know, like you're all about the mission too. You know, just challenging yourself and keeping going, and you're going to go through peaks and plateaus in your career. And it's important to recognize that too, you know? And especially like, I don't know, just, you know, I feel like it's growing up with you because we've grown so much as the years have gone by. Like we used to always be partying and going to breweries and, you know, and that was a whole aspect of our life. And then moving on to like seeing what you're doing now, you know, and the trip of sobriety, the trip of, you know, taking control of your life and prioritizing things. That's kind of what shifted for me after I had Max, like my son. I have a 4-year-old son at home. And I know you felt it too, where it was just like, okay, and maybe that's the benefits of like attacking things so much and setting out to get the stuff that you wanted, because once you have that child, it's like, okay, it's no longer about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love the fire service, don't get me wrong, but like my priorities now have shifted to like my family, my son, my wife, especially as my parents are getting older, like taking care of them, establishing good, healthy habits at home. Like I had to take a look at the mirror for a while. It's so crazy. Especially, I mean, I can only imagine working in like the jails and prisons. Like you see people on the back, like on the lowest of the low, right? And so that to me, like in my family, like I don't know about you, but like social drinking was always huge. I don't know if it was a time.
No,
and
for
era
sure. My
thing.
family too. My family's full of alcoholics.
Oh my
and
gosh.
social drinkers.
Well, and then it's like they're functional too, or not. It's not all of them. Okay, let's preface that. Not everyone's functional. They think they're functional, but and that was just kind of the thing. We had barbecues every weekend. Like everyone was always drinking. So for me, when I had to like take a step back and like really cut my drinking off, that was the hardest part. Like I know for you, it's always like I don't really feel that pressure to drink, right? Like talking about on your previous podcast, going on a cruise. Dude, that was the hardest thing for me. The first 3 months, like getting over that social hump. The first time I tried to do it, I made it. I think it was like 24 days, and then we went to that Morgan Wallen concert.
Oh,
and I looked at my wife before we left. I love you, honey. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be like a wet fart there if I don't like at least have a couple beers or something. Like the social anxiety, for me, I was just like pinging, And so, I ended that 24-day stint. And I had some beers, but even afterwards, I'm like, you know what? Like, I just felt like, why didn't I like push myself harder? Why didn't I challenge it? And like, now that I'm getting over that hump, like, it's just, you look back at it like, dude, like it was all just in here. It wasn't about all the people around you,
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
And the biggest thing for me when my journey of not drinking, and it's actually 9 months tomorrow.
Dude, congratulations.
So I keep telling Sam I'm gonna give birth to a blackout, but but it's I put myself there.
Yeah.
I've drove my friends to bars and hung out with them, and they're like, "Hey, you're not getting the urge to drink." And I'm like, "No." I told myself no, and I was getting the fulfillment of them being safe and knowing they had a driver, and taking them to wherever they needed to go to have fun. I was still having fun with them, hanging out with them, having a normal time. I was going to the parties still, and I was inviting people over. We're having a Super Bowl party, and I don't want to be that awkward person, but I was like, they're like, "Are you drinking?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to drink." I'm like, "No, I bought a whole fucking 2 Yetis full of drinks for you guys. You guys better fucking drink."
Seriously.
Like,
man.
don't let me, like, I'm just doing me, right? But it also has influenced a lot of, and I got influenced about sobriety from two people. Mainly two people helped me do it from the workout group.
Really?
One of the guys has his story, and he was coming up on a year. He was like 2 or 3 months away from the year when he started coming to the workout group. And then another guy, he was coming up on like 2.5 years or 2 years or something like that. And they just kept saying, like, if you want to make the push, like just go for it. And I was like, okay, and I did. And that's Manny Fresh and Too Cool Raul. Shout out to you guys.
Heck yeah.
And I was just actually messaging Manny right before the podcast, and then Raul has just welcomed his daughter. So congratulations to you guys. Keep doing your thing. I see you guys and appreciate you guys very much for pushing me to, accomplish a goal that I've been wanting to accomplish for a while now. So, but yeah, I was putting myself, and I continue to put myself in and around those situations. And I tell myself, like, I don't need alcohol. I haven't had really any urges. And we're coming up near the end of summer, and there still hasn't been any alcohol consumed. So
I noticed for me, it was like the force of habit, like just like having something to drink while like was yard work or whatever it is. And I like what kind of triggered me honestly to like start all of this too was not just like the health sides of things. Like I just noticed that I'd get in the routine too much of like getting up and then just absolutely attacking everything I need to do at work or at home. And then after I'm done with my stuff at home, like, you know what, I'm gonna have a beer. I deserve this, So it wasn't just like social outputs too. It was just like me kind of drinking at home.
yeah.
And lately in life, I've been kind of more like reclusive. So it's like I spend a lot more time just at home, spending time with my son, spending time with my wife. I've actually kind of tried to force myself to just get out and be about kind of talking about that fellowship thing. But my uncle was struggling immensely with retirement, and then watching him struggle with alcohol like really opened my eyes. That was the biggest thing, and it made me like kind of think. They say like alcoholism skips a generation genetically, but I honestly kind of think that, you know, when you have like the previous generation struggling with alcohol, it opens your eyes to like what it's doing, and it makes you lose that taste.
Yeah.
And then as you make that journey to not want to do that, you start seeing in a more sober eye like how poisonous it can be. And not to be too judging about it, because I feel like if I didn't have those health effects, I would love to socially drink. Like that's honestly like a lot of fun. And so that's why I try not to judge, and talking about that too. Like, you know, I'll still have parties and things like that. And I still want people to drink, because it's almost more uncomfortable if people are trying to go above and beyond not to drink around you.
Yeah. It's like, don't make me the it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not me.
It's like, I'm making my choice, man. Like chill, you know? And it's crazy because my dad, he's always just been like the good time guy, always having barbecues, really loves wine, really loves beer, you know, and he'd kind of like have, you know, almost like when you're like entertaining at a party, right? Everyone starts having kind of like, you know, some beers, and then they'll have like some wine with dinner. And then afterwards they have like their cocktails or their port or whatever, you know, like in the evening. But it's like by the end of the night, everyone's 3 sheets to the wind, you know, because all they've been doing is drinking and eating, you know. But my dad, of all people, like when I communicated to him, like, hey, I'm really trying hard and struggling with, you know, trying to commit to not drinking. Like he shows up at my house with like packs of non-alcoholic beers and stuff. He's like, okay, you know, like you got this, you know. And honestly, dude, now, like I was just shopping with Anadine and Safeway, which by the way, holy smokes, grocery prices are insane right now.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, yeah.
Especially when you're eating good and not eating any fast food, and you're trying to provide for a child.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, dude. Like also like that vacuum genie, by the way, that thing is legit. Dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You get those things and you just throw all your strawberries, blueberries, all that stuff. And then it just like seals it, dude. It's like your stuff stays so much like, but yeah. Just going there and everything, like $500 for like maybe 2 weeks of groceries tops. Yeah. But then I'm like stacking like non-alcoholic beers and stuff like in my shopping cart. And you're seeing it like, I guess it's like sober culture is what they're calling it. Like Annie's really into like the pop culture stuff. For me, like I'm like an ostrich with my head in the sand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually gaining a lot of traction nowadays. I don't know if you noticed that, but not a lot of people are not drinking nowadays.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are converting to no drinks and stuff like that. But have you been drinking the non-alcoholic like IPAs and stuff?
Yeah.
Is it called like Athletic Brewing?
Athletic Brewing. Man, I wish I could remember the ones off the top of my head. I just bought some ones from Lagunitas, but they're like sparkling hop drinks. I don't know. I haven't tried them yet. The Athletic Brewing Company though, dude, like I'm like, man, I'm drinking a hazy. I'm drinking a Kolsch. I'm drinking this. And it literally tastes exactly like it. We were out celebrating one of our friends' birthday parties in downtown Morgan Hill. And like, I'm just going to the bar and ordering non-alcoholic beers initially where we're at. And then we went to that Kelly Brewing area over there. Yeah. They had a whole like selection there too. So next thing I'm like, I'm firing down like an Imperial, you know, and it's 0%, you know, I'm like, this is actually delightful. And so then I find myself actually like crushing more beers that are non-alcoholic. And
is there a mouse in here?
What in the world?
Or something just fell. I don't know. But yeah, that's I've seen like Athletic out at the liquor store here. They have like Athletic Brewing, and actually, who really started when I first seen it years and years ago. I was still drinking normal triple IPAs and stuff. Was Matt Frazier,
really
the CrossFit dude?
Yeah, yeah.
And so he was promoting like that brand. Athletic Brewing, and then but now I still haven't got my head around to it. I'm just like, yeah, especially like the Heinekens and Michelob Ultra. I'm like, no one's drinking that for the taste of that stuff, at least, right? Like, and you could. I'm still. I mean, I'm still a beer snob. I'll freaking talk someone's ear off about beer and stuff. And they're, you know, I still have a couple in here. I'm probably gonna try to get rid of them, obviously, because I think I'm.
Say as Hops by Zay.
Yeah,
you're like done.
I mean,
man?
I haven't even really. I don't even go on the Instagram.
Yeah,
like, and man, I have all the glassware still in the cabinets, but it's crazy because I'm like also the guy. I was like, I already spent the money. Oh, I don't want to waste it. Like, let's drink all these bottles in one day. But it's at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Like if I'm going to do something, I think the non-alcoholic beer is kind of like, for me at least, right?
Yeah.
I speak for me. I know it
No,
helps a lot of
absolutely.
people. It's just like drinking decaf coffee, or it's like a vegetarian that orders a burger.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to
Like, you know what
eliminate
you
it,
want.
you know? So, I mean, I could talk shit to you and I know you won't take it,
Absolutely, dude.
but it's like, that's how I feel in my mind. So it's like, why am I going to try to go have something that tastes so similar that makes me want the full effect of it?
Yeah.
I think that would actually make it harder for me.
Well, no, 100%. And like, I have that conversation with a lot of guys. One of my good friends I work with, he's also on the route of like not drinking at all. And to some, it's like, yeah, dude, it kind of fits that crutch, right? Whereas like, hey, if I'm out, but the thing I was doing before that, and my wife actually showed it to me, is like, even just going to the bar and being like, hey, no one knows the difference between like a Coke on the rocks or a freaking root beer on the rocks. It looks like you're having a Jack and Coke, or you know what I mean? Like, it's all in here. But yeah, to me, that's the crutch that I have, and everyone's different. You know, it's like, what is making you want to do that process, right? But don't get me wrong, man. Like, I kind of look at it, like even in the store, I was like, ooh, maybe I'll just get a 6-pack of Coors Light, you know? And he's looking at me like, well, you already got these. Like, you seriously, you know? And I'm like, because I also looked at like, there's like these, man, it was like low alcohol content wines. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking, and it's like double the price of like
Welch's.
Welch's grape juice. Yeah, seriously, dude. So I got one of those, but then I'm like, oh, maybe a 6-pack of Coors Light. It's like, seriously? I'm like, okay, all right, just one at a time.
Yeah.
You know? But it's like, I still, I think I made it 3 months, coming up 4, when Max's birthday, and then I decided to have a beer. And you know, like, I had the beer, and it was cool, but like, honestly, dude, like, I woke up the next day, like, having those 3 months, like, just motivated me to get back on it.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like every now and again, like, I think it was last 4-day, we went to Red Robin. I was like, you know what, a tall Coors Light sounds good, you know. But to me, like, when I'm drinking the Coors Light, it's almost like drinking the non-alcoholic beers.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't know, maybe I will have a beer like sometime down the road, and
Yeah.
but right now I'm just riding it, and I
Keep
feel
it
good,
going,
and
man.
yeah, it's like, and I think now I'm at the point where I would feel worse about like ending the streak than
Oh, absolutely,
you know,
dude.
and then even the next morning I'm like, what the fuck? I've had bad dreams about drinking. That's the thing. That's like crazy to say. Like, I woke up and I'm like, no, I did. Wait, like, I had just had a dream about having like a whatever, you know.
It's like sleep paralysis when you're pinned in your bed, but yet Sam's standing over you with a beer bong. You know?
Yeah, man. And the crazy thing, if she did that, I would probably drink it, like, you know.
Right? Damn it.
Or even Sam was like, you're not gonna get a drink. She always would say, like, you're not gonna get a drink. I'm like, no.
Well, and it's empowering after a while, where you're just kind of like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm in control now.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a great feeling. You know.
No, for sure. It's like, and maybe when I was younger, I wasn't, like, after the third or fourth drink, you're like, okay, you know what? Let's just keep it going, you know?
Yeah. Well, how old were you, like, when you kind of like first had your run-ins with alcohol?
Shit. I was a late bloomer, honestly. So like 18.
Okay. Yeah.
Or so.
I was super early. I think I was just having an older brother, older sister. Like, they were throwing parties at the house and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm embarrassed to say this, but it was like the first time I got drunk was like in 5th grade.
Fifth grade, yeah.
Yeah, it was a house party.
Now I think that's normal. These kids are crazy.
Dude, well, it's
like
not
bad.
like the stuff I worry about is like the RX generation and things. Like, the stuff you can't necessarily see. Like, if you come home and there's like beer bottles everywhere, that's one thing. But like, these kids are going into cabinets and like stealing their parents' medicines, or getting medicines on the street from their friends.
Yeah. I heard you could even order it online, and it's like verified that it's like clean, but you're still getting it as like an underage.
Well,
kid.
there's like, I was watching a show because like, I'm always scared to even dive into it. Like, what's it called? Like the dark web, or the deep web?
The deep web, or
like,
dark web.
You can get anything on it. So it's like, if you know how to tap into that, like, oh my God, you know, like, I'm scared. That's the
and
stuff
these kids are
for.
advanced with like all the social media and stuff. They're super advanced, so
That's
I'm sure they know how to tap into it.
Well, that's what's terrifying to me. Like, now as a dad, and hearing the stories from guys who have older kids, is that, dude, like, you have all these, well, I remember like even being on Snapchat, it all disappears. They have all these different other ways, like WhatsApp or whatever it is. So it's like, you really got to be on your kids' stuff, because they have so many ways to hide it from you.
Mm.
But there's also the pros too. Apparently, like, you have like little like tiles and stuff you can put on their backpack and things like that. Phones that you can adjust like what they have access to, right? That's my biggest like fear. It's just like just keeping.
Yeah. And now in such a crazy world, it's like you go between, well, am I going to give my kid because I want my kid to know where my kid's at and the safety of having a resource to call me.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, there's different kind of phones too. I forgot what it's called, but it just has like 4 or 5 numbers in it that
Yeah,
they
you
could
call mom, dad.
Because the cell phone, honestly, is what is ruining these kids, not just with the stuff that they see, but like their feelings, like a lot of the stuff that they get of not feeling that they're beautiful, not feeling as if they're enough because of all the stuff that they do see on social media that could be fake, or you see that small, very small population that does make millions of, and they make it.
Well, the influencers now, right?
Exactly. That they see that and they're like, well, I'm doing the same thing. My life isn't like that. Like, well, it doesn't need to be,
Well, it's just like you have this instant access to everything on your phone, and then like, have you, well, Tatum's a little younger now, but like, have you gone to see Toy Story 5 yet?
Not yet.
Oh, dude, it's all about the iPads and all that. It's really good, actually. Yeah, man, it's, to me, like, also you see the shortened attention spans. Yeah. So like, especially when you're teaching people things and you're having conversations nowadays, it's like you have to capture them in like what feels like sometimes 30 seconds or less.
Yeah.
Because next thing you know, your mind's moving on to the next thing. And that's kind of like Social Dilemma kind of blew that up, right? The doom scrolling and everything like that.
But even I was talking to my sister yesterday. I was like, I'll have 25, 30 minutes of footage from the workout.
Yeah.
And I clip it into an 8-second video.
Right.
And that's the only, if I post a video that's 2 minutes, it even shows like the insights of the video. It'll show when people start skipping your video.
Oh, interesting.
It'll show like by the time, and it shows 14 seconds, 13 seconds, and then everyone's gone.
So just like on average, as soon as you hit 20 seconds, it's like
next,
wow.
boom, boom, boom. So that's it, and that shows it's for adults too. I mean, my stepdad that's never had a phone has a phone now, and we were at the pool yesterday, and he was scrolling, watching his reels. I'm like, and me and my sister, I kept looking at my sister. I'm just dying laughing because this dude knows nothing about technology from what I remember. Now he's freaking scrolling on YouTube Shorts.
Well, I saw that like we were at one of my wife's family's like cookouts, and like these guys were like hardcore motorcycle riders, like older guys that you would never expect on TikTok, like sitting there just like scrolling away, and I'm like, dang, dude, like you know how to do that? Like I don't even have a TikTok, like all right, I see you, man. But yeah, it's affecting everybody. I still stay on Instagram. I just recently like jumped back on Facebook just to grab all my photos because I was making like an old photos, and that's the other thing too. Like we're talking about with like. I feel like it's really important to like print pictures out. I just did that the other week because like when you're uploading to all the cloud, there's so many pictures you just forget about, and life just keeps moving on, and you're taking thousands of photos.
Yeah.
So it's just like going through that and just like printing everything out was like really like just kind of like a blast from the past, and putting it up on a wall, like being able to look at it, like having something tangible.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, I feel like that's all going away. Technology, it's a blessing and a curse.
So another conversation I had at work, what about landlines?
Oh my gosh.
So say when Max is older and he's like 8 or 9 or 10 and you guys want to go to the store real quick, you can leave him at home. I mean, that's completely normal in my eyes, I think.
Oh yeah.
But if he doesn't have a phone for some reason, right? I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
But they're saying if you do that, how is the kid going to call 911 if someone breaks into the house, or if they need to do it? Like, what are they going to do?
Absolutely.
Right. And that's another, you're like, what the heck? Like landlines.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that's like, you snap back to like when we were growing up, and there's just like,
remember I still knew how to use the dial.
Yep.
One number.
*67, popcorn for the time, right? Three-way calling, dude.
Three-way call. Oh. Hey, watch. Oh, that person didn't say it. Watch. I'm going to call it later. Beep, boop, boop,
hey,
don't say a word. Watch. Hello.
Hey, remember when you said you liked that girl?
Yeah.
Like,
hey, remember, hey, didn't you tell me you wanted to hang out with me? Yeah, why? What do you go? Like, oh, okay, that's all. Never hang up. Click, call. Hey, I told you. See, I wasn't lying. Dang. Three-way calls was sick.
Oh, they were great until your parents found out. Like, you're running up the phone bill. Oh, like,
dude, my mom was a menace. She if she didn't want me talking on the phone, she would pick up the phone in her room and leave it just.
Leave it on there.
The dial tone.
Yep.
And then I couldn't call anyone. I'm like. Dude, my mom,
Same
she's a hater sometimes.
With the dial-up modems too. Yeah. Like you're on the internet too long, they pick up the phone.
That, or even My mom would unplug the router, no Wi-Fi, anything like that.
Dude, mom said, like, I feel like they all had the same playbook, dude. Like, mom was doing the same stuff, man. Or you'd be like staying up all night to play video games or something, you know, and then they would like, you know, unplug the internet or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
in the middle of a ranked game.
Oh my God.
I can't pause it.
I'm in Team Fortress Classic right now, dude.
You just don't understand that I can't pause my online game.
Oh, man.
Now it's our wives that don't understand that we can't pause our online game.
I know, right, dude? It's ranked, dude.
But no, that's awesome. So that childhood's crazy. You came over here working, and now it's like the full circle that you really do see like what your parents sacrificed and how your parents did it to become. You were touching on it already, like just being a parent. I think for me, I feel like this is the coolest, funnest chapter where we get to write the book how we like how we were raised and what we liked and what we didn't like, and now we have the opportunity to preach and teach to ours, right?
Yeah.
And like we're about to have our second baby in less than 5 weeks or so.
Hey.
Sam is today. She's 34 weeks pregnant.
Dude, that's amazing.
So and dude's kicking. Tatum, Sam texted me yesterday morning, and was like, "Oh, Tatum just felt the baby kick." And she had like the emoji with the watery eyes.
Oh.
And I was at the coffee shop, you know, after the workout, and I was just like thinking, I was like, all right, try not to lose. I was like, damn, that's so cool. Like,
that's amazing, man.
And she's saying like, baby brother, and she's like, mama stomach. Like,
dude, that's so cool. I still have like very vivid memories. We have a video of it of like my old Great Dane, and she's like resting her face on my wife's belly, and like you can see in the video like the baby kicking, and like she's just like, you know, on there.
Yeah, Mitzi Sue. Shout out Mitzi Sue.
Oh my God, R.I.P. Yeah. You know, you just have those dogs where it's just like that's your person, you know, and like she was just along for the whole trip.
Oh yeah,
we talk about her so much to this day. How's Oakley doing with the having siblings around?
So Tatum's starting to become like a little more emotional with her. So like she's actually like, oh, that's my dog. I'm like, okay, watch her listen to me. You know, and she's like hugging up on her neck, and she's loving her, and she's bothering the shit out of her. And Oakley, you know, she's there and she likes it, and poor dog, she's gonna have to redo it all over again.
Reboot too. She's going through some changes.
She's still fun. She's still agile and mobile, and she's still a young little 6-year-old girl. So she, you know, but it's fun. We'll run. Tatum's thing recently is running. So she's like, Daddy, run, like right before bed. So we'll run down the hall. And then when we throw Oakley in the group running with us, she's dying laughing at Oakley just jetting across the hallway. Oh my God. And just somehow missing her every time, like doing a 360, and her head just glazes right by Tatum. I'm like, all right, you know, but it's fun. We're just, you know, we're having a good time. And now Tatum's starting to become emotionally attached to the dog.
Oh,
and,
that's amazing.
You know, it's sad to think about one day. You know, I posted a video about it the other day and saying, you know, one day this dog's going to break her heart, you know, all of our hearts, but her too. But it's good because Sam never had a dog growing up. And,
really? I didn't know that.
I think that's like child abuse.
I know, right?
Like dogs are fucking awesome.
American.
You know, I've always loved having a dog, and I've had dogs get run over and die.
Oh,
I've had dogs die from old age. I've had dogs just, you know, but I've wouldn't have changed it. Those dogs there's just a different love aspect that they give you.
It is, man. It's like unyielding loyalty. It's just, you're growing together too. And that was the hardest part with Mitzi. And that's why I don't think we got another Great Dane yet, was that like she was such an important part of our life. And then like the way that she went to, like everyone kind of knows that Great Danes don't live long.
Yeah.
But she made it past 10 years, and she would have probably gone 2-3 more years. But she had tumors starting to grow right in her throat. And
there's a point where you're like, it's not comfortable for you, and it's a selfish thing to do to keep it alive, you know?
Well, and dude, we spent, I mean, one Thanksgiving, my dad like loves dogs. Oh my God. So like he's got Puppy Palace up there, right? Yeah. There's just dogs running feral everywhere. And so we'd bring the dogs up, and Mitzi
buffet Puppy Palace.
Oh my God. Yeah. And he's just like over there, like feeding him off the table and stuff. Like that was things like I had my dog trained so well, and then I went to live with him for like 6 months, And like I look over and like Mitzi's sitting right behind him with her head rested on his shoulder, and he's like cutting up his food and like feeding her. Like I'm like, Dad, like stop, man. Like, it's like what? You know, he's like loves it. But yeah, it was like she ended up getting into the trash that Thanksgiving, and then she's playing. Well, she got into a bunch of like chicken bones or turkey bones and stuff like that. Flipped her entire stomach. We go home, like she looks like she's about to die. That cost us, I think it was like $7,000 to like tack her stomach, flip it. She almost died by chance. One of Anadine's cousins happened to be like a super dialed vet place, Sage in Campbell. Like if you anything's going on with your dog, highly recommend that place.
They'll take your money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they'll take your money. Oh, woo. But yeah, man, it was just it was a rough process to go with that. And like you said, you know, we did that $7,000. We spent another $5,000 getting her a tumor cut out of her throat, and then we found out there was ones in her abdomen and everything, and then it slowly came back, and that was really hard. You know, just like I took her around, I got her like a ribeye steak. I went and like did a bunch of stuff with her. We took her to the beach, and then we went and said goodbye. And like, man, like moving on in life, like I think like sometimes some of the stuff on the job like sticks with you a little more, especially as you start to have kids and things. But like for the longest time, I felt like I could watch people suffer way easier than I could watch animals.
Dog, I know, bro.
Oh my God. You know, like talk about like bringing tears to your eyes immediately, like thinking about animal suffering, you know.
I still think about the first time that Sam was over late at like my mom's house and she forgot something in my room and I was in the car. And she stepped on my previous German Shepherd's paw, Leo. And my mom was like, did she step on like Leo? Like what happened? I heard him. Well, and I asked her and she said no for the longest time. And then eventually she's like, well, like if, you know, I felt bad. I didn't want to say it was me.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, even just like, yeah, anything that's like, even today we went to shop for the chairs. And we're at a light and there's a squirrel crossing the road. And I'm like, bro, don't. Like, what are you doing? Like, why? And then like we see these two cars going. I'm like, just don't look. I look away. And then the squirrel's on the other side of the road. I'm like, bro, dude, just stay there, right?
Please, yeah.
Just a squirrel. Like you know, animals freaking, that's like my weakness, to be honest. Animals get me.
Because like Morgan Hill in the Valley, you get a lot of like mice and rats, I feel like, you know, in your neighborhood. And so like, right when we first moved into our house, like one of the dogs, just like, that's the great thing about dogs too, by the way, like, is they absolutely handle any kind of rodents. Mm-hmm. And then go get yourself like some like little like nitty gritty, grimy cat, you know, outdoor cat, and they're going to handle business too. Like we got Carol Baskin.
She's still thriving.
Yeah, a little lazy eye and everything, fatter than hell. Right when I think that like she's still not a hunter, dude, like all of a sudden like she comes back and they'll always like leave like stuff like right at the main door, go into the garage, like little trophies. But yeah, dude, I remember like they got a hold of a rat and I thought it was dead. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking at it. And like I carry a lot of my gear in the back of my truck and there's this like big ass tool I have called like a pig. It's like a axe meets a sledgehammer. I'm like, all right, I got to kill this thing. I was like, I grab it and I go out there and like I wind up to kill it. And the thing just like obviously goes, you know, looks at me like, ah, you know, and I just like panic real quick and just like, you know, obviously do the deed. But I'm like, immediately after I'm like, I just killed something.
I know. So that's funny now that you say that. We had mouse traps set up in here. The fridge or something.
I think it has the condensation.
But so there's the mouse and we get it and I hear like a squealing in here. I'm in the house. I come out here and I see it just its back legs are done, right? And it's just dying. I'm like, God. So I have a little CO2 powered Glock.
Yeah.
Like that just shoots the BBs, right?
Yeah. So
I come in here. I'm like, God. I go and I shoot it in the head. Dude, it takes its nose off. It squeals even more. I'm like, oh my. Dude, no. I shot it like 3 times in the head just to make sure that it was. And I felt bad about that. I'm like, dude, I literally destroyed this fucking thing's nose before it like I actually killed it. I'm like, yeah. I'm like,
you try to do the humane thing.
That's just a mouse that has no meaning to me or whatever, right? And I'm like you said, like animals are, man, it's something. And then when it's your own dog, it's even worse because that dog has lived its whole life to please and
be with
like you and to love you, right?
Absolutely, man.
And but yeah, freaking dogs, man. But now it's like kids. It's even I'm so like scared for her to fall on her head or like I think of the worst possible situation. I'm like, or she falls on, you know, we're trying to get. Now she's been falling like just clumsy toddler.
Oh yeah.
She's falling on her knees and I'm telling her, baby, when it like just slap it. So now we have her slap like when she falls, she's like, ah. You know, but she's a tough little girl. Man.
I thought
Give it
being a
to her.
paramedic was going to make me like, way less chill as a dad, and just be like, just coming home, like not really worrying about things, being the calming presence when stuff is going on.
Mhm.
No, dude, that was an adjustment when we came home. Like we already like went through the ringer with the delivery and everything. Like it was just like my wife spent a ton of days in the hospital and everything, like everything, not everything that could go wrong, but
you
a
guys,
lot went wrong.
yeah, I
Right.
remember.
So then we get home and like, dude, I'm like so paranoid. I'm like sneaking into the room where his crib is and like checking to make sure he's still breathing and stuff, like just totally like a nervous wreck, but what it was something that kind of happened was really unfortunate was that when Anadine had to get her epidural, the guy who did it, and just by chance comes in bragging about how many he's done, and the next thing you know, he messes it up.
Oh.
Emergency C-section. He's got to go take off, and then it's in the wrong part of her vertebral column. All of a sudden, she feels her legs. She feels all the pain. She feels everything that's going on. He's nowhere to be seen. Eventually goes in, does it again. Well, once we go home, I didn't realize this even like all
I
the
remember
training
this. I remember calling and checking up on you, and you're like, "Oh, we're on the way to the hospital again. And the
Yeah.
baby's at the house. Like, I feel horrible." I'm like,
Oh,
"What
dude.
the?"
Well, she apparently was still leaking from her vertebral column, like cerebrospinal fluid. So she started having like this, when you look it up, and women will have like these crazy migraines, and they never had migraines before. And Annie's never had migraines. So next thing you know, she's going to the ER. Like I feel like she had to go by herself because it was COVID or something. We had to like do something where like, and we had parents coming in and out with Max and everything. But long story short, they had to like pull blood from
Such
her.
a joke, by the way. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, no, dude.
And
Trust
she's
me.
doing this by herself.
Well,
not with a spouse. Like, oh, you haven't been COVID tested in the last 3 days. It's like, what the fuck? We just came in an emergency.
Was a nightmare, man.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like not being able to like be in the room like when stuff is going on with your family, like that's just horrible. Like, you only get maybe sometimes one visitor, but that one visitor is such a game changer, especially when people are going through things. So she had to go in there by herself, and she had to go get this blood patch where they pulled red blood cells from her body and then re-injected it back into her spinal column to form a clot.
To like plug it, kind of.
To plug it, right? But the problem is like with heart attacks, aneurysms, things like that, those are clots, right? So you can't dislodge it or it's going to go somewhere into you and cause bigger problems. So she had to lay flat for like a week.
I remember that.
And she couldn't walk around with Max, all these things.
And the baby, realistically, like, the dad could be there and do as much as but the baby needs
mom.
The mom, like it's the food source, it's everything, right? It's just like the love, the
bonding,
nurture,
everything.
where the babies they're used to being inside the mom's womb. They're like, I want to get to my comfort. I want to hear my mom's heartbeat. I want to, and it's like it.
Well, it's the whole experience for the mom too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and so like she's like struggling with that. It's like, man, I can't even do this. I'm like, no, we're gonna work through this.
Yeah.
And of course, like the first night we bring him home, like I'm like, okay. And I took some advice from some guys at work. They're like, dude, you're used to getting up in the middle of the night. Yeah, does it suck? But like, hey, dude, like if you have the option, like, cause we had the benefit of her doing formula, and so I was like, hey, you know what? Like, I'll do the night shift. You do the day shift. So it was like I would do the night where you'd have to do the feedings, right, every 3 hours or something like that, or every I can't remember exactly what it was until they get up to weight. Well, of course, we go in for Max's first checkup. He's already like above weight. So he didn't have to do that long.
Still, he's a fucking tank.
He's a tank.
Good tank.
A good tank. A Sherman tank. But yeah,
the power jeans.
But yeah, man, I ended up first night with him. We watched the entire season of Band of Brothers on the couch. You ever get like the cribs and bassinets, get like the 3-in-1 one with the wheels? Because then it's like you just wheel them out in the living room, and kind of do your thing, and then they can sleep. And then she would do the days. We'd try to catch up on her sleep like that initially. But yeah, wow, what a life-changing career. But like you were talking about earlier, you really want to do the stuff that you learn good from your parents and the stuff that, you're like, hey, maybe I'm going to do this different. And so we have a lot of talks about that too as well, because you learn a lot of great things. And then what you learn later too is that like you're going to try to do other things, but then you realize really quickly that like, dude, a lot of parenting is trial by fire. And it wasn't necessarily that your parents weren't like doing the things that you wish they were doing. It was just like, hey, they were trying to figure it out too.
Yeah, they're treading water just as much as we are.
Absolutely. Like look at the divorce rates, look at everything going on around us. It's like nobody has a playbook like of how to like do a successful marriage. And there are great ones out there, don't get me wrong, but like to take the drinking thing with us. Like some stuff just doesn't speak to like every single person.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of finding different playbooks that work for you, which is like,
and it's like they always say the first child is growing and learning with you, and that's why the the trends of the second and third child are always different than the first. And the first child, I'm the oldest in my family. It's just like, I didn't have it like that. What the fuck? Like,
Right.
we were going through the fight. Like, what? And then now my sisters are like so catered to and stuff. And I was like, I never had that love or that, but it's, you really learn with them. Right. And
it's so different. And touching on that subject is that when my dad remarried, we went from having a position where like we were on the upward spiral, right, of working hard to get everything that we had. And so like once my dad had my younger brother and my younger sister, they were already very successful. And so there's like pros and cons to growing up in each lifestyle too, right? Like my younger brother and younger sister are going on to do amazing things. Like Mark is working in these crazy labs where like he's trying to get his he's studying abroad, but he's trying to get his clearance to go to like, it's like a level 1 essentially, where they work with like smallpox. They work with like, there's only like a handful of labs in the world that are allowed to work with this stuff. So right now he has like the security clearance of right below. So he's working with like, I think it's like avian bird flu, all these other crazy stuff. And he's going in and working in like essentially like these level A suits with all this stuff, 12-hour days and this. And that's what he's kind of working up to do. But different trade-offs, right? So we all have things that we have to work through in life. And so it's like, for me, like going through public school, going through different things, like it was trial by fire, and it was like enforcing strong social skills and learning different things. But then like my younger brother, younger sister had the privilege of going to private school. And that brings a lot of pros too, because like going to his graduation and seeing how many kids had scholarships, had a lot of academics, a lot of different things. But at the same time too, like you're very confined to certain discourse communities where like you're very sheltered. So like the social skills you may have to potentially struggle with later on in life and figure out.
Or just saying like a lot of the things that I've seen from that aspects is just looking at, obviously you're in a different level. And you're and obviously it's just the human nature.
Yeah.
You think like, oh, this person went to a public school, or they don't have a good education like me. You start thinking like that. And then you're like, I don't want to be around these people.
Yep.
Because they're not like you, or they didn't go to the same school. And unfortunately that does happen with a lot of, and that's like, maybe that's one of the cons too. But look, the pro is look at what your brother is doing, like what your sister's doing.
Absolutely. And it's human nature, I feel like too, to kind of like try to define people and put people in boxes. And it's just like, you see it all the time. And now like seeing it as a dad, like for me, like even just growing up kind of like more of like my dad was more of a decentralized command, because it's like 5 kids, right?
Yeah.
And then all of his other friends had like big ass families too. And so it was more like standing back and then having to manage the big things if they arise, like if 2 kids were beating the hell out of each other in the front yard, or hey, knock it off, like, but now having 1 kid and being able to kind of focus in on that, I thought that I was going to be much more like laissez-faire, kind of talking about the whole paramedic thing. But it's so funny. Just the other day, I took him to the park yesterday, or no, it was the day before yesterday. I got off a long shift. I take him out to the park, and he's going out doing her stuff. And literally, dude, like we get to the park, and he's like, Dad, I want to ride bikes. I'm like, all right, let's go ride bikes. And so we get there. He's like, Dad, I want to take my helmet off. And we're kind of in that phase right now of like, hey, you need to start learning some more independence. Like, we're going to have big boy school in a year. And so I'm trying to like teach him, like, hey, man, take your little pinchers and go out here. And then, of course, like my bike falls on his bike and falls on him. It's like, bam, I'm like, I'm like, damn it. I feel like crap. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Like,
make sure no one saw that.
Yeah, I'm thinking in my head, like, you boob, dude. Like, you just dropped your bike on your son. So I feel bad with that. And then, like, all the kids in the neighborhood start showing up. They're playing and everything. There's different age ranges. And he's a kid that he's normally playing with all the time. Good family and everything. It's like talking with them. And then I watch the kids. They're throwing, like, this small basketball. And, like, Max is big, but he's small. Yeah, like, small developing, right? And so he's, like, way too close to the kid. He just winds up. Boom! Just throws the ball. Pow! Hits him right in the head, dude.
Yeah.
Boom! And he's just, like, real tears, crying. And so, like, I'm managing the way I can as a dad. It's like, okay, hey, like, don't jump to, like, flashing at, parents, things like that. You know what I mean?
Like I'm going to fight everyone.
Oh, dude. I was just like, okay, go over there. And you got to teach, like, how to handle this. But I don't really know how I'm going to teach them how to handle this. And it's like, hey, accidents happen, And, like, Max being such a great kid that he is, he's like, I still want to play with him, And the other kid was really good. He's like, are you okay? So that kind of, like, sweetened it a little bit, like, smoothed things over. Because there's other times we're in the playground where, like, sometimes there's just kids that are just
menace, like,
oh my God, dude. And like my wife's so much better at that, or bless her soul, is she'll step in and be like, hey, no, knock this off, you know, whereas I'm kind of like,
Yeah, we're kind of like the dudes. It's just a dude, right? Like,
and then you feel like I don't want to be that dominating presence, like yelling, you know, like
because it's different from a man than it is a woman too. And then, like,
absolutely. You
and
know?
I don't want to ever. I don't think I ever will. But like I don't want to yell at another kid.
No,
it's not,
man.
It's not my role.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll yell at a parent. Like, what the hell? What are you doing with your kid?
Come on, man. You know, and
but
I feel like there's also a big.
We're not there yet. We're not.
You're gonna be there soon. Dude. You're gonna blink, man. It's wild, you know. And then you start putting them in
She's
school.
the wild child, so it's like she's already like you said, the development thing.
Yeah,
she's as tall as some 3-4-year-old kids at this gym we go to, and she's running next to them. And some of these kids, you see the look in their face, and like she'll be trying to play with them, and she does this thing. Well, we always do it when we hug, we pat, or like I said, good job, like, and I'll pat her. So she'll try to go up to people and pat them. And some kids, you know,
oh yeah,
iPad kids or some stuff, they're kind of like
standoffish,
weird with being touched or patted. Yep. And they kind of, they'll like push her or do something, or they'll like take stuff from her. And then she'll like look at me and like kind of, I'm like, babe, just leave it, like ignore him. Yeah. It's usually boys, not gonna lie. But I'm like, just ignore it. It's okay. Go play over here. Like, we don't need to entertain that. Yeah. I try to tell her, and that's like my way of trying to be nice. Like, leave it. They obviously need the toy more. Like, we have everything you'll ever need. Like, don't worry, you know. But it does like, you really have to learn patience.
Man, it's hard too, and especially when you see your kids going through like the social hierarchy. Because especially like growing up for me, dude, I bounced around a lot of schools. Like, and it wasn't just because like we were moving and things like that. Like, I moved from San Bruno, then to Foss City. Then there happened to be another school, Brewer Island, that opened up. So I went from Foss City Elementary to Brewer Island, then Brewer Island to Jackson Elementary. So it was like that to me, like having to go to each school, and kids are just animals at a young age, and like not being able to fit in certain schools, and then finally finding a group, and then having to move. Like, to me, like, it breaks my heart. Like, when I see my son, and you try to, like, especially at the park or sporting events, you want them to have their independence. Mm-hmm. So you want them to go figure it out. But when you watch kids like being purposely mean to them or excluding them, or it's just like, you want to go over there and be like, motherfucker, like, what's your fucking problem? You know,
and you're, you know, it just, I feel the same way, because she's like chasing. She loves playing with older girls, like older little girls. She's like follows them. Yeah. And some of them are really nice, and then some of them are like, what are you doing? I'm like,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
but it's like you said, it's sad seeing that, because
you don't ever want your kid to struggle.
Exactly.
You know, like, man, and then we sit and talk in the same breath, like, struggling makes everything more worth it. Struggling is what makes you work hard. But then when the shoe's on the other foot, and you gotta like watch that
you feel bad.
Oh my God, you feel, and that's like coming home from that whole thing that happened. Like, parents are super chill. We're riding our bike back, and then my wife comes home, like, I'm so far in my head. I'm like, part of me feels like, yes, I handled it well. But this other part feels like, man, my son got freaking rocked. Like, I felt so many different emotions. And then you're like tapping into your head, like, okay, why are you feeling those emotions? Was it something that happened with you in your childhood? Mm-hmm. You know, there's always going to be that overwhelming sense to protect, but it's also like, what's going on with you? Why do you feel this way?
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of benefit to it too, because you don't want your kid to struggle. And my wife said something like really nice the other day. We're just like, knowing that we have two parents that feel that way, that want our son to, just be loved and know that we love him so much. Like, we just know in our hearts that he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's all part of the learning process of, you know, us even seeing those kids be like that.
Oh my
gosh, but okay, now when we see those kids again, we'll know what to expect, and we could give a little warning or, but yeah, just overall, when that kid comes home and knowing that he's going to be loved is freaking way more than you getting punked at the park.
Absolutely. You know, with Tatum too, eventually she's going to go to school, and like you're involved with so many different kids. And so you come home with stories about like, and these are kids are just figuring it out. Right. But it's like, you hear that a kid spit on your kid, you hear that, you know, or maybe they said something, or then your kid comes into the car and says something that some kid may have said mean about him. You know, it's just like, that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
Because in my heart, I don't know about you, it's like, man, the kid spit on you. Like, you want to say like, kick his ass, you know, but then you're like, okay, that's a 4-year-old. That's a 3-year-old. Yeah. Like, you can't give him that tool so early on in the game, because that's all he's going to do is react and just start hitting people.
And so half the time, it's the fucking parents.
Dude.
I mean, more than half the time.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, these kids are learning things.
They're sponges,
not just from the
right?
TV and all the bad stuff that they see, but it's the parents. Sometimes I'm like, dude, your kid's being a fucking menace, and you're not even interacting with your kid. There's like benches, and you're on your phone. You haven't looked up once,
and you're just ignoring while they're doing X, Y, and Z.
Like,
you know,
and I'm like, boom, where are we going? Or I'll run, but I'm also able. Like I'm running right beside. I'm in front of her. I already know what she's gonna do. If she's on like a high fixture, I'm freaking ducking under, and I'm on the other side. Not even saying like, watch out. I'm just watching. Like, boom, I'm like hyper vigilant about everything.
Like, it 100% is a thing, man. And I think that's also like a big thing about like fitness, right? You got a lot of friends, you know, and a lot of people are in different avenues for fitness, right? Some people want to be doing endurance-based stuff. Some people want to be big. Like everyone's kind of doing it for something different, right? But for me, I think I've graduated from, because I don't do competitive sports anymore. I'm looking at getting back into jiu-jitsu, but I want to get my son squared away with that right now. We got him in a really good spot now.
Yeah.
And once he's like really happy and we know we're going to stay there, I think that's when I'll start exploring that. But at the same time, I'm just kind of modifying the way I work out these days to have longevity in my job. I know, especially after having some significant events, like it's really important for you to have aerobic capacity.
Yeah.
Especially when
stamina.
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to be able to stay in the fight and continue to assess the situation and stay in the fight.
100%. You know, and it's like, especially like, you know, if you get into conflicts in your job, right? It's like, you know, you may not be, and this is just me speculating because I have no background in law enforcement, but like you may be in a fight with somebody for a while until somebody comes in to relieve you. So that is kind of like the trade-off on that in firefighting is like you may be in a job in a really crappy situation, maybe on air. So a lot of that is your ability to be able to like bring your heart rate down, control your breathing, be able to like sustain like hard work for long periods of time. And that to me, I gear that around, you know, my workouts. And then also just like being at home, it's more just like being able to run around and chase my kid. You know, I don't do a lot of power lifts too much anymore. It's just more about focusing on how I can get through to the end of my career and how I can still be that dad that chases his kid around.
Yeah.
You know, my dad's 74 now, and I had kids a little later compared to my siblings, but just kind of seeing, you know, now that he's older, it's like, man, I want to try to be able to get on the floor with my kids and, you know, when they get older, be able to do stuff with their grandkids. So it's important for us to maintain that physical fitness.
And also a good thing about being and holding yourself accountable and able at work for us is we need to be able so that we could come home.
Yeah.
That's like, if that doesn't say enough about why you should stay in shape, you have to be able to do whatever and assess and give you, I mean, something bad might just happen where it's out of your control. But if you could prepare yourself to be a little bit better or more prepared, why wouldn't you?
Yep.
And why wouldn't I prepare myself to be more, to come home to, you know, someone that actually that really does need us, right?
100%.
And our children need us. They need their parents. And if, you know, we're doing a disservice to not just ourselves, to our partners, and when we come home, our family, right?
Yep.
And that's like it took me a little bit, even when Tatum was growing, was maybe coming up on a year, is because I really started to change the way I did things was February of 25. So that's a little over a year and a half ago now. And I'm down about like 30 pounds. I'm starting to lean out a little more. And I feel like I'm good. I'm decently rounded. I'm not going to say well, because there's always room to improve.
Absolutely.
But I could hit some of the power lifts. I could run 3 miles with a weighted vest. I could fight and stay in the fight in jiu-jitsu because I just get beat up the whole time when I go to practice.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I have those short explosions. It's, you know, we do the high intensity workouts where we're just moving our body with a decent amount of weight. And
oh yeah.
And I want more people to continue to help me get better. I want to help those who are a little bit further out and not at the level that we're at to come up and be better for their families. Like that's like my whole thing is like, I want better men so that we could raise better children, so that our kids have a better environment to live up. They see those healthy habits that are being created now. Absolutely. So that they know it's like, it's not weird. It's just normal, you know?
You know,
And that's what I feel like my purpose in life was after having after Sam having Tatum, my purpose in life is to be a father and like someone who is a leader and guides in good faith and for the best, how do you say it? The best, like for the group, the best, well-rounded in every aspect for the group to be better.
Absolutely, man. It's just like everybody can bring something to the group too, and it's just like your best version of you is going to be different than somebody else's best version of them.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has different talents. And I think that's really important to get out and just experience different things, and it's just like, I was on the treadmill at work and I was listening to a couple of your podcasts, and I think it was Ryan who was on your podcast was like, like, who am I to, have something to contribute in these certain things or whatever, like, hey, I might be into workout, but who am I? But like, dude, everybody has something to bring to the table. Like, I almost wanted to like reach across the screen and be like, dude, you have more than you'll ever know to bring to the table. Like, it's just bringing it there. And it's like sometimes being a presence, sometimes just being there and just like leading by example or just going through the workouts with people, like, and them seeing you do that. It's like, hey man, like if he can do it, I can do it someday, and just trying your best to talk the talk and walk the walk, which is extremely hard sometimes.
And Ryan, it's been cool because we've been working side by side this year, and we've just pushed each other. I mean, he doesn't need any extra pushing, but the conversations that we have, like we have real deep conversations about stuff that you would never expect us to have. And we have a real good support system through each other. But he's pushed me to like, come on, bro, you just did 4 reps. Like you had 2 more in you.
Keep it going.
And he's pushed me to go places, not just as being a better father, but being better at lifting weights.
Yeah.
And then we see people at work and there's some haters, and it's like, bro, how are you going to hate on us just trying to be creating a movement of positivity, right? So we ignore that shit, to be honest. But we're always like, a lot of people will be like, bro, you guys are doing X, Y, and Z. Like, they'll tag us and they're like, bro, now I'm working out. And I'm like, bro, you haven't, like, that's what we want. It's like the positivity movement, the movement of just sharing the wealth. Like some people take it as like a threat. It's like, dude,
you're out
I
here
hope
trying
you
to
do
be
better,
Mr. this or Mr. that.
Yeah. And it's like, no, you're missing the point. And the point is that you just want people to be better and happy, because when you're around them, then you're just everyone's going to be happy,
Absolutely. And I feel like I've encountered in life too that like, my buddy Marco said this to me where he's like, hey, if you have haters, you're doing something right, and then it's just kind of also, but at the same time, it's just like, what's driving that person to hate on you, right? Is it something that they're uncomfortable with in their life? Is it something they're battling inside?
Yeah, they need to address,
you know, and it's just like, what I feel like how I kind of silence that is I keep moving on. I keep doing what I'm going to do. I know in my heart of heart, what I'm capable of, how good I am at what I do. And then I just keep moving. And if the message is right, if the plan is right, if you're working through things and you're seeing positive results, stay the course.
Yeah.
Maybe people might be talking about you, but hey, you know what? There's things you can't control. And one is that when you walk away, someone's always going to have something to say, good, bad, or indifferent.
And that integrity comes in is when things are going bad, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Stay the course.
Or when it's your turn to talk about that person, what are you going to do? Are you going to take the high road, or you hear somebody's talking smack about you? Do you just rally back and just start talking smack about them?
Yeah. But if you do, this is what I always say, what makes you better than that?
Yeah. 100%, man.
Something that you don't like.
Yep.
But you're going to do the same thing. What makes you better?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day,
The other thing too I live by a lot that's gotten me, because I've made the mistake over the years of putting my foot in my mouth, and then you learn really quick, like, ooh, like, especially if it's like, I remember years ago in college, like I happened to be at a house party, and then I'm, like I see these girls, I'm trying to be impressive or whatever, and then they're talking about a guy on my football team, and then I'm like, oh, he's not that good or whatever.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, like we're in class, like, hey dude, I heard you talking to my chick, like saying I'm not that good. Like, we're gonna fight now, we're gonna fight later. I'm like, oh shit, like
here.
And so that works its way out, instantly humbled, right? And then I started to learn. I'm like, you know what? Like, don't say anything about somebody that you wouldn't say to their face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
like,
sure. Yeah.
That's such a great rule of thumb. Like, are you able to always do it? No, we're humans, but I try to live that kind of code.
Yeah.
And it also makes you more like empowered to address things, people, like person to person, man to man, if you may say it.
Yeah.
Just being able to I feel like nowadays, especially with the birth of social media, texting, a lot of indirect conversations.
At me.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, well, talking about all the stuff you have to worry about with your kids, cyberbullying too, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, to me, and maybe it's just the way that I was raised. It's like, let's have it out right now. We're not going to shout about it. We're going to talk person to person. We might be very, vocal to each other, but then after that, like, we're going to pick up and we're going to move on.
Yeah.
And we actually said the stuff right there, and
It's
then
like,
we're
get
gonna
over
move on.
it.
Yes.
But we're going to address it.
But as you're teaching and mentoring, like, the newest generations, people don't operate that way.
No, for real.
And it's on you as a teacher and a mentor to, like, hey, maybe being confrontational about everything is not the way to go, because they're going to start shutting down.
But it shows you're already using your patience of just saying, hey, I'm going to take a step back and look at it for what it is. And
trying.
Exactly.
Yeah, trying 100%. Learning every step of the way.
But a lot of the negative things that I've tried to think about, and I've been listening to on my Bible app, these little summaries and videos that it has, is the human thoughts. Mm-hmm. Everything that we're thinking that is like toward like a negative or not like good,
yes,
is all human thoughts.
Absolutely.
And that's what consumes us, because it's what we think. We're always like going to think of how we could do it in a bad way or the not right way, right?
Absolutely.
And that's all human thoughts, and that's like the devil freaking throwing his little darts where you're getting like poked, and you're like, I'm gonna keep.
Well, and it's like, man, dude, like, that's something that's been a big part of my life lately, is that, like, throughout the years when I'd kind of get down and out, like talking about like suffering in silence, I'd hold up and like start analyzing what I'm doing, both like physically, mentally, emotionally. Start, reading books came later on in my life, because it was a way to keep my mind, like, slow it down.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have horrible insomnia. The job makes it incredibly worse. But what I started doing is like, man, I remember in class, like, I try to read the textbook or I try to study and I fall asleep. So I started reading books to fall asleep. But the next thing you know, it's like opening up different like avenues in your mind. And so initially I started with like Buddhism years ago, reading all that, getting into everything. And there was a lot of stuff that I learned from that. But then now lately, the latest one is like, hey, you know what? I spent all these years like having religion forced on me, like having to go to church every Sunday. And then I started like, man, there was just so much that's happened over the years where I felt like something was kind of speaking to me. And I mean, I can dive into that a little bit later, but I started just like reading the Bible and like trying to actually like understand it and learn it. Mm-hmm. And some of the tools out there are amazing. Like you're saying, like Bible study apps, YouTube, even just plugging it into like AI and be like, hey, this verse, what the heck did they mean by that?
Yeah.
And it pops everything up. And then thankfully I've had a couple of guys within our department, because anyone who knows like firehouse culture, I don't know how police is.
Dude,
like,
I think it's coming along though, but
I think it is.
I know what you're.
It's like, dude, you would almost like rather like, there's a lot of things like you don't really talk about. And one of them is like religion. Politics is a really hard one nowadays too as well. So you kind of like stray away from those. Especially like people don't want to feel like you're imposing it on them. As soon as you use religion, it's like, woo, back up. Yeah. So it's like I try to just like implement teachings and lessons from it to other people without even like throwing like the actual scripture out. But talking about what you're talking about, like, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it's like, it's in Fury, the movie, but it's like, if a man loves the world, then the love of the Father isn't in him, like lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes. And it really like taps into that, where it's like, man, if you're obsessed with all these other things in this world that are tangible, that are, the wrong words coming to me, but like materialistic.
Yeah.
If you love more people than the message that you're reading in that book, then the love of what he's trying to teach you is not in you.
Exactly.
It's like the altruism. It's doing the right things even without expecting anything in return. Like that's like the whole mission. And like,
are not boasting about it. Like they say, like if you're gonna give to someone in need, like do it and don't expect anything. Don't go like, oh yeah, I gave this guy. I remember you're like a kid and you're like, oh, I just gave a homeless guy like $5.
Yep.
Like, oh, what did I did my good deed. Like in the Bible, it says you do not even need to speak about it. Like, for he has seen it, and something will come back to you, right?
Absolutely.
He will reward you.
And there's just so many hidden messages in it too. And it's like an onion, man. There's just so many layers to it. And the more you get into it, and I like, man, going through that, what kind of prompted a lot of it was my grandfather was a huge part of my life. He was the one who kind of taught me, like, the person who raises their voice in the argument first has already lost the argument.
Yeah.
It's all about really. Man, that, and that's like, even like they break it down clinically, is that when you're shouting, your heart rate's over 100 and you're no longer listening. Mm-hmm. But my grandfather, he was a big proponent of religion and everything. And so We went through a battle with my grandmother. She went through the ringer, man. She had double mastectomy. She had Parkinson's. She had, and then it worked her way into her brain. They were doing experimental procedures, all this stuff. My grandfather was holding on to faith, and then he started to kind of lose it towards the end. He suffered from a lot of survivor's guilt, but he always kept it together and kept the family afloat. But anyways, when he passed away, like that kind of just turned me off to religion. Between the two of that, I was just like kind of searching for things where I was like, man, if this all happens. We were also dealing with a close family member that passed away at 25, brain cancer, left 2 kids. Just some tragic stuff going on in my life, and I just kind of made that immature decision.
It's like, why would God do this to good people?
He turned his back on me, right? And so like that turned me off from religion forever. And then eventually I gravitated towards Buddhism, and a lot of Buddhism is about like identifying that there's suffering all around you in the world, and that, you know, how to rid yourself from that suffering. How to come to peace with it, how to come to peace with the fact that you're here today, gone tomorrow. There's different realms, all these types of things. But you dive in deep into that, all of a sudden, like you get mind effed, where you're like, oh crap, if I'm nothing, if I'm not this, you know, all of a sudden you're spinning, right?
Yeah.
But getting back to the religion was that all of a sudden, one of the first strike teams that I had in Belmont was the car fire.
Oh, this is the barn?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Oh, no, the barn was Kincaid Fire. We're wrapping myself in horse blankets.
So talk about this one and then talk about the barn, because the barn's freaking sick.
Well, man, yeah, and there's so many that blended together, but we're at Kincaid Fire. It was pretty tragic what happened there when we first got there. The giant fire tornado that, like, no one's ever seen, like, picked up, like, this poor prevention guy's vehicle and killed him, killed a dozer operator. We get there at night, and one of the things you learn, like, in base camp and things like that is, number one, like, I've never been in war. I've never been in combat or anything like that. But I understand one thing where it's like when you're going to these places, everyone has to fit different roles, different cogs. So you like the grandiose vision of like going in, just going to battle all the time. Like in the fire realm, you're not going in and just like slaying the dragon every time. It's usually like the initial attack, and then people come and file different spots. Well, we come in at night, and one of the big things that they kind of talk about with that is like you can't go into like uncharted territory at night because you're setting up your guys to get hurt. This whole thing's going down in a neighborhood miles away from us, and we couldn't go out. So we're idling in there in base camp. One of the last guys there, because we showed up later. I remember feeling horrible about it. But then we went out and we're doing our stuff, and we actually got some pretty good fire behavior out there, because it's a roll of the dice, especially when you're doing like local government city strike teams versus CDF. CDF, they're rightfully so, like their bread and butter is wildland fire response.
That's
same thing with feds. So they want their guys in the
They'll
front
fight
line.
way more fires than any firefight, like quote unquote firefighter. Right?
100%. You know, and that's like to anyone who's out there trying to get hired, I highly recommend you go do some seasons with Cal Fire, because you're going to fight a ton of fire. You're going to get a ton of experience. But yeah, man, shoot, where was I going with that?
The Kincaid Fire.
Oh yeah. So yeah, they'll push all their guys in the front line, and then depending on if the fire's really out of control, then that's when the city guys start getting plugged into stuff, because they don't have any other resources. So you get good deployments, but a lot of the times too, you might just be kind of filling in different other roles, maintaining
backup role, support role,
making sure neighborhoods are safe, going in and prepping to defend them. It may not roll to them or not, so it's like it's a roll of the dice whether you're going to get a lot of good fire assignments. So we got some good fire assignments, and then I just kind of felt like there's just like a presence around me a lot. It was really weird. A lot of people in my family have had like ties to just feeling those types of feelings. Well, I'm out there. I can't ignore it. We're struggling with getting like places to lay down. It's like 114 degrees in the base camp fairgrounds. We're trying to sleep there. Everyone's just sweating like crazy on the off days. There's no places for us to stay. We ended up staying in this like crazy hotel that like it was crazy. But before we even got to the hotel, there was no place for us to stay on our off duty days. They barely had enough sleep trailers. Just by chance, one of the guys on our strike team happened to be living up there, happened to be a minister there, and happened to have a church around the corner. And they're like, hey, we'll open your doors to you. There's no pressure for religion. We're not asking you to attend mass, anything like that. It's just a place that's air conditioned for you guys to lay out, to relax, to rest. All the guys like, absolutely. So we go over there, and like I just kept feeling something. I don't know if it's just my emotions, the stuff I've been through in life, but I was just like, I felt like something was just gravitating me towards that church. And prior to that, when we were out on deployment, there was a Bible on this house's deck, and like all around it, the whole world's like kind of burning down around it. And I remember like picking this Bible up, and there was one thing that kept following me for a while. Like every time I'd open up a Bible, and it was very few and far between. It wasn't like I was opening one up every day. It would always center in on Book of Job in the Old Testament, and I didn't ever read that story. And I was like, okay, and I closed it. There was another instance where a lady's handing out Bibles in base camp. I just happened to grab one. hey, you know what? It'd be nice to have one. Especially like people kind of tend to just kind of walk by the boxes. And I was just like, man, I feel bad for this lady. She's actually trying to do something good. Same thing. The little gold thing that holds the pages had Book of Job in it. This was going on for a while. So I went to that church. It was the first time since my grandfather passed away. And like, I just had these overwhelming feelings. Like I could feel tears coming through my eyes. It was just kind of me alone in there. And that was when I just kind of started feeling that presence, between that Bible being on the deck and that house being saved, between having the doors open. I just kind of started to feel it. And then we started moving in operational periods. We went and had lunch under this big giant oak tree. Fire's pretty much kind of done. Like, we're not seeing active flames anywhere or anything. We're having lunch. We're kind of checking in on these houses, making sure in case the fire blows back that we, have our stuff tight. Well, right after we're done eating lunch, we go walk away from this tree. Not even like 5 seconds later, 10 seconds later, the whole tree comes crashing down. There's no fire anywhere, no smoldering stumps, not just kabam, smash, like right where we were sitting down having lunch. I'm like, what the F,
Yeah.
And at night, dude, like you're sleep deprived, your brain starts playing tricks on you, stuff like that. But there's sometimes I'm like, damn, like
What the?
there's some shit out there. I'm like, and so that was my first thing that kind of got me into it. And then I started going through a lot of stuff throughout the years. And then eventually, when I had to go back to my grandfather's house after he passed away and, go through a lot of things that for memorabilia and stuff, I ran into all of his old like World War II letters and things like that. He had something typed out from the invasion of Normandy. It was insane. But I got my grandmother's, she had there's the small Bibles that they would study with back in the day, my great grandmother's Book of Job. And that one, it was just insane. So I was like, all right, I'm going to see what this is about.
Full circle. Yeah.
And in that book, dude, it's crazy, but the whole gist of it is like God and the devil are kind of talking. And there's a guy named Job out there, and God's flexing. He's like, hey man, check this guy out. He's one of my A1 followers. He's so great. Everybody loves him. So blessed, amongst the community. He has all this. And the devil kind of is like, hey, yeah, but what if he didn't have all that stuff? Would he really follow you? Like, what if he actually had some real world problems, some sickness, some this, some that? And God's just kind of like, well, no, he'd follow me. Like, he's my number one. It's so he says to him, and there's withdraw your hand. Withdraw your hand from him. Stop protecting him. So God does that. And next thing you know, Job's just getting just hit with one thing after the other, dude. His kids all get killed. He gets, these crazy boils and blisters he has to break pots with. And he loses, shaves all his head because he's losing his mind. Even his friends are telling him hey dude, whatever you're doing, you're messing with something bigger. What are you doing? You're a fool. Everyone is saying all the wrong things to him. He's like, no, man,
he's testing.
I'm staying the course. I'm staying the course. All this crazy stuff happens to him. And then long story short, at the end, he proves himself, and then God gives him back everything that he lost essentially. But that kind of just spoke to me where it's holy shit, I'm going through a lot right now, but maybe it's to be set up for something bigger in the future. Maybe when all that stuff, if I stay the course, if I do the right things, if, regardless of what people may be saying, or, you go into a room, especially when you're making big changes in your life, people are used to seeing you how you normally are. It's hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? And that question almost becomes annoying because people are so used to they want to put you in a box. They want to define how you are. So when they see you making big changes, they question it. And when you're going through this process, it's stay the course. If it's right, if it's just, if it's, doing the right thing, giving back to people, stay the course. And so that kind of just prompted me to get into it. I've made it through so far Job, Proverbs, half of Acts, and then right now I'm just about done with Genesis, but small bites, right?
Nice.
I'm not there every single day doing it. It's just when I feel okay, now's the time to get back into it.
Have you done the Gospels?
As far as all of them?
Yeah. So there's on the Bible app, I did it with a couple of my friends when we had a little Bible study, and they're like, hey, it walks you through the 4 Gospels in 30 days or 40 days or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And dude, it's crazy because a lot of the stories that you do see on these shows, it all correlates to that.
Oh my gosh.
So we started watching, what's that Bible show? The really good, The Chosen.
Oh yeah, on Prime. Yeah.
So I did some research, and it said The Chosen is really one of the better shows where it doesn't change
I did
much.
the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when we're watching it, I'm like, oh, watch, this is about to happen, because I'm a real visual learner.
Yeah.
I don't like reading as much as if I see something, I'm like, okay, now, and I won't forget it.
Oh, 100%.
So we're watching it, and now I'm seeing all these stories that I actually was hearing on the audiobook and reading come to life. And I'm like, oh, that's what I was like, dang, I wonder what it actually would have looked like. That would have been so crazy to see,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
But the
Yeah.
Gospels are a really good like understanding of they're obviously these guys that were walking right next to God, right?
Yeah.
Or not God, sorry, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And there's from different different aspects, they see him performing these miracles, and the
Yep.
way that every person describes it is different.
Yeah.
But it really gave me like a cool understanding of a lot of the stories that come in.
Oh, absolutely.
So the Old Testament I haven't really dabbled with. And
Yeah.
Sam has really dabbled with the Old Testament more than I have,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Gospels and the New Testament stuff is where I've really been like looking and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like someone said to us, during every hard aspect in your life, maybe you left God, but if you really look back at it, did he ever leave you?
Yeah.
And that's like you said, there's things that do test. Why are you going to give kids cancer?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going to kill innocent people?
Why are you going to cause suffering?
And when you look at it, it's like they lived out the perfect life that they needed to live so that they could have the eternal life, so that they could maybe show an example of what happened with them. Is it's going to allow someone to not have that same experience later on down the road.
Absolutely.
And that was their purpose that God gave them on this earth, right? But there's so many evil things, and it's like that
Oh my
you
gosh,
think
yeah.
of like, why would God do this? Why would God do that?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you have to remain faithful, and you know.
Absolutely. Stay the course, you know, and
Exactly.
I'm
But
kinda,
it's like it really gets me back. I still am not like 100% knowledgeable about like a lot,
oh
but
yeah,
the
there's so
small
much,
bits
man.
that I do know, it really does hold tight with me.
Yeah.
And like I'm never trying to force anything on anybody, but it's really helped me
Absolutely. I
and my
agree.
family.
And that's what's I've been kind of sticking with it because it's been something that's been working for me. And like you said, dude, maybe it's not for everybody. Thing I always kind of question a lot was like, hey, maybe the reason why there's so many religions out here is because like there's different like what if like I don't know all the religions. I'm not an expert on theology, but it seems to be a trend that there's always like there's religions where there's multiple gods. There's religion where there's one God. There's religion where there's no gods, and there's no religion, right? But the ones where there's like a religion of a god, it seems to be like the same thing, like a prophet, like Muhammad, like Buddha, like or Siddhartha or Jesus, So it's like, what if by chance, like these are all the same stories? It's just been paralleled by man, or just been rewritten, or so to me, I just feel like there's some of the greatest self-help books and some of the oldest ones out there. If you can find one that speaks to you, like stick to it. This stuff's like battle tested.
Yeah.
But what I like that you said, the chosen ones, I looked that up after I was coming home from the gym one day where I'm like, okay, my buddy gave me a good one. This guy named Timothy Keller, where he talks about like what you're talking about, like what was going on back then. How why were they doing this? Why are they talking this way? Like I didn't understand initially when I was reading it. Like fear God. I'm like, why are you gonna be scared of somebody that you love? And no, it's like back then the terminology was like fear is like an overwhelming love and wanting to follow that person so much that it's like you fear them. You're in reverence essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how they say it. Like walking upright. I was like, what the heck does upright mean? Like people weren't slouching back then or
Yeah.
anything. It's like no, that was being more just like sticking to religion, living an upright life. It's funny because I've been getting more into Old Testament just because the stories are just so wild.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've just kind of been
But
dabbling
there's
in right now.
all the correlation that it has.
Oh man.
And like I don't know. I believe, I'm a true believer. I believe that Jesus walked this land, and he performed his miracles, and he ultimately died on the cross for us, for our sin. And there's so much things, like even the science that says it's not real. Like there's so
Oh, I
much of
know.
science that proves that he was here.
Yeah.
With the studies and stuff that they have.
Well, they found like actual like relics and things like that from back then,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I just the more and more that's where my life has taken me, and the biggest thing that my buddy kind of told me about that I didn't really understand about religion and Christianity was like, hey, the whole thing like Christ died for our sins, right? But when you start getting into the Old Testament and like all the stuff that's going on with all the beefs and everything, and I had to like start pulling up like a map and seeing what was going on. That's what's nice about like AI or YouTube or stuff like that, as they started breaking it down and explaining it to you, I'm like, okay, this is why they were doing what they're doing. Because if you start reading it and comparing it to life in 2026, this isn't going to jive, man.
Yeah,
You're like,
no,
what the
no,
heck, man? Like, I'm reading about like Abraham and how he's like doing all this crazy stuff, and I'm just like, man. Then I had to start like diving into why was going on, how it was going on, what the current battles were, and everything going on in there. And yeah, man, it's been a good road. It's been a great, just finding so many different messages in it. The one that I recently keep digging, essentially, right? Like you hear it in Survivor and stuff like that. Like that's actually a biblical reference to when like these guys were like chasing him out of land and filling up all of his wells.
Yeah.
And he kept digging and he kept digging. And
Like and it was completely dry, and then eventually
he found a spring, and then the king that was like kind of like pushing him out comes back. It's, man, obviously you were chosen. The whole story. Yeah, it's been a great experience.
That's cool. And like you said, the biggest thing is you don't want to force anything on anyone, but the signs that has shown me time and time again. Like I personally don't go to church, but I am continuing to practice my faith with others.
Yeah,
that's my community. That's where I'm at with my religion right now. I have like, I'm not super paranoid to go places.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm too vulnerable. My family is too vulnerable at that moment in church when everybody's supposed to be safe.
Yeah.
In a safe place. There's a lot of people who go to church and they believe that they're better than others in a human thought aspect because they go to church. And I'm just trying to stay humble, and we could preach our religion where we can. And those who want to hear it are going to hear it. And those who don't want to hear it are obviously not going to hear it. But we could hope eventually that their eyes would be open to something.
Well, and I feel like it's not like you're pushing them to be like, hey, sign up for this. It's just more like, hey, these are the lessons I've learned, and that's where it's like talking about like when you're giving advice at work or in life or whatever it is, like you don't necessarily be like, hey, I'm quoting scripture to them. No, you're taking that lesson and maybe restructuring it and giving it to them in a different way, especially if they may be like anti-religion. It's like, hey, that's not on me. And like I said, like nowadays we're so blessed with so many different avenues, and to use them in the right way, the way that you're doing with your workout groups, and then guys coming out and actually saying prayers and things like that. That's where you're building that fellowship, right?
Yeah,
that's where your fellowship is. Like I'm much like you, where like I'm not going to church every Sunday. Like I still haven't gone back to church since then, but it's on the horizon that I want to do like maybe a youth group or studying or something like that, or not a youth group, but like a Bible study sessions and things like that. Because now I'm thinking about my son, and especially like when we're talking about like watching him like try to make friends, and then maybe the friends like pushing him off or like excluding him or things like that when he's first meeting kids at the park. It's hard because, like you said, there's some church, you have to pick the right church, right? Because there's that hierarchy sometimes, or the people who show up on holidays and judge everybody else or whatever it may be. But I'm also thinking in the back of my head, like, hey, I want to surround my son with people who have like the same mindset. People who are doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I always felt like growing up when I used to fight religion so much, I had a friend, his dad was like really into like and they would have all these cool events and stuff like that at the churches up in Jackson. And I remember him bringing me to a couple of them, and I'm like, man, this is so stupid. I want to be out doing like all the things that this place is not promoting. But now that I look back, I was like, man, like those people were always like, at least just like, hey, like actually like happy to have you here, like we
actually felt that way. Like they were trying to.
And then I'm looking at these, and then like their kids are coming to school and they're treating kids the right way. Not everyone, granted, but like I'm like, man, and I look back at that in hindsight, I was like, should I be starting to get my son into that? Should I start, getting more social circles,
But
like,
it's because of our life experiences, like we've been like hurt by some people.
Yes.
And it's like, damn, I don't trust people being like that nice.
Oh, absolutely.
And even now, like even when things are going good for you, there's sometimes I still don't trust things. I'm like, like it can't be that perfect, but that could be the devil throwing his darts. Like, oh, I got you. Like shy away from 100%. The good, right?
And the other thing too is that like our jobs like inevitably make us like on alert about everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything, assuming the worst out of everybody all the time, but not necessarily acting on it. But then you're like, especially, just this day and age with all the awareness that's come with like child trafficking and child abuse and all this stuff. It's like, man, I don't want to leave my kid alone with anybody at any time.
Or, them people in the church, and it happens more a lot. It's like you see that they use religion and an evil aspect to overcome people, to take advantage of people, and that's not what it's about at all. It's like,
Well, there's that argument that like human nature is inevitably evil, you know, but I think it lives in us, and that kind of goes back to whole like Christ dying for your sins. It was like we couldn't get it together in the Old Testament, so the whole reason why that he went through that process was to basically, you know, make a pact with his father of saying, hey man, like if I can do this the right way, if I can put up the sacrifice, can you like give it in your heart to give these people a shot?
mm-hmm.
You know, and so it's like being able to tame that. I feel like that dog lives in everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's on you to tame that. But human nature, we go back to what's comfortable. So if you're raised in an environment that promotes you to constantly bark that dog, to constantly treat people that way, you're gonna inevitably grow up feeling like that's how you should treat people.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like you should be full-fledged in religion. I saw a video and a guy said, like, if God asked you right now, I'll ask you, out of 10, if your chances of going to heaven, what would they be right now?
Out of 10, like 10 being I'm a shoe fit in.
Yeah.
Man, I would say 5.
So you're saying Jesus only died for 50% of your sins?
No, man, that's deep. Because if everything is as it said, then it would be 100%, right? But I think I just carry some guilt where it's like, hey, you know what?
That's what, like, you but you questioning yourself,
yeah,
it shows that you're saved, right?
That's true.
You says like, oh, okay, well, hey, I know, even when you're doing, if you did the wrong thing, you're knowing like, oh, this is killing,
right.
It's gonna kill, like, this is killing me, this is not right. You have that thought process already.
Absolutely.
And that's what God wants you to say. Hey, you messed up, yes, but you've acknowledged that that's not
huge.
right, or, you know,
having awareness of it, you know, of your actions as well.
And when I saw that video, the guy said, you know, like 6, and the guy said, hey, so God only died for 60% of your sins.
I might have to keep that one, man.
Yeah, and that, you know, there's some things that pop up and they really hold with me, and that's why. And even after I answered that question, I was like, yeah, like the same thing you just said. I have not been a perfect person at all, but
absolutely,
if you could acknowledge that and know that you can move past it and know you are better than that, and that one thing does not define you. Because a lot of people also are turned away from religion because they're like, oh, you say you're Christian, you could, and then there's some people that go out and they're like, oh, I'm Christian, I'm gonna sin and God's gonna forgive me anyway. But it's like, no, God, that's a huge misconception, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, there's even a verse that says like, yes, when you die, he goes up to heaven, and they're saying, well, hey, we worked miracles in your name, like I spread your word, like why aren't I gonna get in? It's like, I didn't know you, because you were still doing the wrong thing. You weren't living,
straying away,
you know.
Absolutely.
And this world is so dangerous with everything right now, like with lust, with just the evil that people want to be, with like violence, OnlyFans,
man, that's
porn, like all these things will destroy a man easily. Well, and I've been caught in some of that, you know, like
you all get caught in that spiral too. And like, you know, just not to skirt the subject, but it's like just the OnlyFans thing is just crazy in my mind too. Is that like, you know, that's another thing that's calling to the next generation, where it's like, I can go make this easy money. I see these people getting houses while I'm offering these services, and they're not that bad initially, but then that evolves, right? And then eventually that well dries up, right? And then now you just posted all that stuff online for people forever.
Yeah.
And now you're not making the money anymore, because guess what? It's on to the next person who's doing something brand new.
Yeah. And all your stuff's already out there, wired, you know, and it's evil money. That's why money is evil, because people want to do things for the money.
Yeah.
And look at what these kids are going to, like the measures that they're going to, just to try to make money,
seek validation.
Just, you know? Yeah. So I could be someone popular in the community.
Well, and it's like, I love our country so much, and I love the idea that you come here, and if you work your ass off, no matter what, even if, you know, someone's soaring through it and you're beating your way into existence, but if you stay your eye on the ball, you can do anything here. You know, but at the same time, it creates a dog eat dog atmosphere, where, you know, you're setting aside all those good faith things of taking care of each other, being a good neighbor, honoring each other, because now you're trying to get your piece of the pie.
Yeah.
And there's millions and millions and millions of people all doing the same thing. Well, no one else is working out for each other after once we start all doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one else there to like say, hey, how can I help you get a piece of that pie? Hey, how can we, you know, all, you know, come together, because now we're starting to become more individuals.
Yeah.
You know, it's sad, but
It's a crazy world. And that's why, like, just obviously, like, trying to do as much as I can for the community is just what I'm trying to do.
yeah,
But I know there's so much more out there. There's so much evil out there, but there is also so much good
there is
out there. And it just, we have to just learn how to decipher it and how to, you know, take care of the ones that God has provided for us in our lives, and be humble and patient with others, even though those people that do doubt the good, you know, someone's hopefully looking out for them too.
I agree.
And I don't really like the whole, like, I'll pray for you thing. I feel like that's kind of like a human thing now. It's like just to say something to try to be like, oh, I'm better than you still.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like I hope something good comes of this for you.
Well,
you know?
it's like, it's almost just like setting up the mindset though too, that it's like, I don't necessarily say I'll pray for you. And I hear people say that, and it's like, okay, you know, I try to consciously appreciate it. It's almost that, you know, when people tell you like, I hope you're feeling better, I hope you're doing good, you know, and you just deflect and you keep moving, you know, and it's like, you're almost too embarrassed to take compliments or praise or someone who's trying to care about you. But the one that I kind of think of is like, especially when people are pissing me off, or like, you know, especially, dude, you go to work and you got to share a station with, you know, anywhere from 3 to 7 to 8 guys. You know, some other firehouses have like even more. It's like, there's eventually you're going to get on each other's nerves. You're eventually going to have
just like roommates.
Oh, dude, it's all different personalities. And so it's like, rather than like, and don't get me wrong, like, one of the beauties of my shift that I work on right now is like, we get in each other's dish, you know, we mess with each other, and that's a great thing. But at the same time too, when it starts getting serious, when, you know, you see people like, you know, hurting, or they're lashing out at you, or shouting at you, or whatever it is, it's so easy to like, to match that energy. Like, you know what, motherfucker, like, let's go. But I think the grown up thing to do, and especially having a child now, is to try to see it from their shoes and be like, okay,
their experiences.
Their experiences. What age are they? What are they going through? You know, what haven't they gone through yet? You know, like, especially like, I'm not saying I'm old, but like, I'm getting older, and I'm starting to be like, okay, what was I doing in my 20s? What was I doing in these modes? Like, where was I? Like, how lost did I feel in these moments? And that makes you at least have perspective for those people, and then it keeps you from shouting at them.
Yeah.
And then maybe just seeing things and like feeling sorry. It's not like I'm going to pray for you, but it's like, hey man, I feel bad for you, man.
Yeah.
Especially if like that's the venom that you're coming out with. Like, there's something else going on in there, and maybe when the timing's right, I hope that maybe I can help you someday. Like, get through
or at least open your eyes to go get help, or open your eyes to talk to somebody that you trust to
Absolutely.
get that ill out of them, right?
Oh, 100%.
Because it's like, when it gets bottled up, once it explodes, it's nasty.
Oh, dude, I'm a textball bottler upper too, and like anyone who's worked with me is just like, you know, fun, you know. But like, they'll know as soon as like I'm perturbed. Oh yeah, it's just like, okay, you know. But and I know I've had those moments in my life where I had so much cumulative stress going on. It's so easy to just snap, you know, and then just start yelling at people or telling them everything that's on your mind, and that's not okay. Especially if you have like a 30-year career with people.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just like, not everything, like, it goes back to that Proverbs verse where it's like, a fool's mouth lashes out with pride, but the lips of the wise will protect them, or something like that. I can't remember the exact thing, but that's where it's like, to me, like, in my most foolish moments, where it's like, you know what, asshole, like, let's fucking go, you know, like, you want to talk about some shit, and then you start throwing haymakers.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's that fool lashing out with pride. That's me in here saying, you're questioning my ego. You're questioning me.
Yeah.
I'm feeling something in here.
And the devil's just like,
oh, let's go. Come on, pal.
Yeah.
You know,
there
absolutely.
He is.
You know, and so, you know, I've learned that the hard way. And one thing that I'm thankful that my parents taught me later is that, you know, you blow up on people, you got to go back and apologize.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to recognize what you did. Like, that's the biggest thing, is that, you know, you can do a lot of wrong to me, but at the end of the day, if you come back and you're like, hey man, I'm really sorry for what I did, like, that speaks like like miles.
It's almost harder to do that than it is to lash out at somebody.
Hands down. It's
once you did it right.
So much easier to lash out.
You're so embarrassed and stuff like that. Yeah, no, for sure. But it's crazy how like what we just learned, like just getting older, and I feel like I'm really maturing, and I feel I'm enjoying it. And there was like a time and a place, and my time had just come up, and I'm still not I'm nowhere near perfect in any aspect, right? And I know that, and I know the best thing that I could do is just to keep working, and putting my effort in the good, and trying to become a better man, trying to become a better husband, father, and friend, through the Lord. I think that's all I could give, and I'm okay with that. If it's not enough, I know that was enough for me, right? I'm constantly trying.
Oh yeah.
Trial and error still. We're about to have another baby. We're gonna have another boy. To have two children, and now it's my job even more to be the best person that I could be for them, so that they have a better understanding and better life than we did.
Absolutely. It's just I think that's just a lot of maturity when you're growing up too. And there are a lot of people out there, maybe it's just the way that their life went, or maybe they, decided to have kids early, but you'll see them still wanting to hold on to those aspects of what they were before they had a child.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing against them, but that's something, I guess I was just blessed enough that like I partied a lot. I got that all out of my system. When I got out of the, 5-year relationship, I was like, hey, and I challenge anyone out there to do this, is that if you have the opportunity, you should live alone for a year, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not talking roommates. I'm not talking anything like that. You have to face things head on. You have to be comfortable with being alone, which I didn't realize was like a terrifying thing, but like
it really is.
Dude, being alone in your thoughts in a house with no one in there, like you really have to look in the mirror. You really have to you go deep, and then it also forces you though out to get out and go out and do things and still keep up with, friendships, and not necessarily just go home to those roommates that are always there, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I lived with a lot of roommates over the years, but that 1 year, maybe 2 years that I spent living alone in my house in Modesto, those were some deep years.
Yeah. Especially after something that was so significant at the time, you're like,
oh my gosh,
damn, you're forced to just be on the fly.
Well, and it was just it was a textbook relationship where we were not just ready for everything that we're trying to get ourselves involved in. I was just a degenerate. I was just getting into the bars and stuff. I was no room for commitment whatsoever. And then so as our lives evolved and everything, we got engaged. I was watching all of my friends going through that process. You go in life where everybody at a certain age goes through marriages. Everyone at a certain age ideally goes through having kids. And then everybody, as you find out later, or not everybody, but a lot of people go through divorce or 10-year itches or things like that. So yeah, we have ended up calling off the engagement, and that was what prompted me to be single for at least 5 years, I think, maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I learned a lot. I learned that I had a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah.
Holy
and
smokes.
just seeing those wounds that maybe you've gotten from relationships, or even your upbringing. It's I think when people jump from one relationship to another, it's it's so unhealthy, because they really need to know hey, why is this failing? And they haven't taken the look of why it is. And maybe it is that person, or maybe it's just, I don't know, something different, but you do need to analyze yourself. I think it is healthy to really understand yourself before you get into another relationship, and then even have kids when you still haven't focused on yourself. As selfish as it may sound, it's not, because whoever your partner is deserves to have that person that's 100% and confident and loving and willing.
Absolutely.
That whoever you're with deserves to have that, because marriage isn't easy. We both know that. And
oh my gosh, yeah.
And then leading into being a parent in a relationship that's not that great, it's it just focuses you, or it makes you not focus on what actually matters, and you're just basically treading water the whole time.
Well, and you guys were super blessed too, because you and Sam have known each other since high school, right?
Yeah.
And so you guys got to go through all like everything together, right? You know, living together, like and that's the other aspect too, where it's like you guys went through all that, which just made you better prepared to be a parent.
Yeah.
You know, and that was just like the biggest thing for me was just like realizing that once I became a father, once we got married, I think without the kids, you still have that like aspect of like, we're going vacationing. We have a little more independence. We can sleep when we want to sleep. We can eat whatever we want to eat, you know, like stuff you essentially sometimes take for granted. But then once you have that child, it becomes so much bigger. And you realize just how much marriage is a lot of work, and being a father is a lot of work. And you may not be able to show up that day 100%, especially after like a long, grueling tour, but you damn well better put your both feet in, and you better try to give that 100%.
Yeah.
And then that's when it comes in with like marriage that I've learned too, is just like, you gotta like understand where the other one's coming from. You gotta understand that they're also like, when you're away on long shifts, like, you know, just knowing where they're coming from is huge. Like the best advice I can give to people, like something that me and my wife did when she was pregnant, is before like we ever really like had like communications issues, we went and took a couples communications class. It was free through Kaiser. It was a blast. Like we had so much fun. And then it was like laying framework for things that when later on in life, when we were going through things, you didn't wait until like the house is on fire to learn about a fire hose. You know, like you went and you learned and you trained about things. So when those things happen, you already have the tools there to use them.
It's like you're learning about the things that no one really wants to talk about.
Oh
like
yeah.
The hard things, right?
Absolutely. You know, and so it's really important. I used to always say it to like recruits and things, is that, you know, it's important like with your crew to like grow together and not grow apart, but that's also in relationships. And that's kind of where I stole it from, is that like, I always felt like I had a good relationship if we continue to grow together. If
Yeah.
you're growing apart.
No, for sure.
That's like the antonym to it, essentially. Right.
And having like a good relationship just shows your child so much more than you even know. Like when you guys are loving, like I come home and I greet my wife. I greet Sam first every time, and Sam comes home and she greets me first. And Tatum sees that and she's like in awe. It's like cool, you know?
Yeah.
But she knows that, like, and you got to love your wife more than you love your child, which is crazy to think.
Yeah.
But I really do believe that, because at the end of the day, that's what gave you the child. And then your love for each other is going to show so much.
Well, like breaking down the terminology too, is that like, you know, going back to a little bit to faith, was that like, there's things that people read like, oh my God, that's extreme. But like one thing they tackle in that is that like, you got to love God above everything. Then you love your wife, then you love your children. And when you break it down though, is that like, if you lose your wife and your child, all you have is that faith, like between you and a higher power, right? You lose your child, all you have is your wife and your faith, right? So it has to go in that order, essentially, right? And you have to be able to be squared away with your faith, whether it's in a higher power, whether it's in a faith that things are going to work out, whether it's in faith and just, you know, doing the right thing. Like you have to have that internal peace and that faith. And then it moves on to like, now that you have that, you can carry that over into like what the old sayings say of like sacrifice. Like men are supposed to sacrifice themselves for women, and then women are supposed to, I believe, like honor or serve. I can't remember the exact terminology. That's another one that like a lot of people balk at in religion.
Yeah.
But if you look at like the writing in the wall, it's just saying like, hey, dude, like you got to lay it all out for your wife. You have to
love her.
You got to understand where she's coming from. That's the hardest part, I feel like, because men and women are very inherently different people by nature. And so like you have to really be vulnerable and open up and like think like a whole other way that your brain may be like wired to think, especially with our jobs. It's just like go, problem solve, hammer it out. You're with the boys all the time, so you're talking a certain way, acting a certain way. Then you got to come home. You have to tap into something completely different.
Yeah, because even at work, like I think about this all the time, is at work, people ask us questions, and anything that we say, they're like, all right, that's the right.
Yeah.
And then you come home and you're like, hey, even as something as so minor as like, hey, babe, could you just do this? And it's like, why do you want me to do that? I'm like, you know,
100%. Man.
But it's like at work, if I tell like an inmate, like, hey, go do this, they're like, all right, cool, no problem. And you come home and then you
still
think,
have that presence.
But then you think like, why isn't my wife listening to me? And then it's like you get in your human thoughts.
Oh, absolutely.
Of why it's, well, what's going on? Like, why aren't you listening? Like,
well, and you're given,
and it's you're doing it in a different tone where
Yes.
it's not like loving. It's like not, hey babe, I'm doing this right now. Could you please help me and do this? And then they're like, oh yeah, like when you could have just asked normal.
oh, dude. Well, it comes down to like command presence, right? So it's like, and you know, speculating again, it's like, I feel like if you're working with, you know, prisoners and things like that, there's that kind of, that not angry dad, but that dad voice. I'm like, hey, like, you know, or if something's popping off, and she's like, hey, we need to do this. We all speak the same language. Bam, you know, we snap in line. We just get to work.
Yeah,
that's not how a household runs when you come home. You know what I mean?
Gentle,
it's just like,
delicate.
yeah, and it's like you come in with this big command presence, and it's just like, firehouse thing. There's just a whole other thing where it's like we pride ourselves in keeping operational readiness, but that leaks into our firehouse as well. Where like everybody's just like, we're done with lunch, we get up. Dude who loses a dice, he's automatically in the sink. But we're also like, like depending on who it is, like we'll mess with him a little bit, whatever it is. But then like guys will grab towels and start drying the dishes and start putting them away.
Yeah,
guys will start, you know, sweeping the floors.
But depending who it is, right? Like, if this guy's not always a fucking asshole, but this guy, no, he's my boy. I'm help out anyway.
There's a little bit of that too, or you know, or I'm gonna mess with him because he is my boy.
Yeah.
But like guys are all tapping in. Just it's so automatic because you work with her so long. But that's not how the home is. And if you want your home to be automatic like that, number one, it's not a firehouse, right? But number two is like you have to be able to speak a different language and you have to like communicate a different way, you know. And so it's like for me, when I go to work, I'm that presence of just like. I just have that overwhelming, you know, want to take control in situations. And that's what's kind of powered me to start seeking the next position and rank and things like that. But then when I come home, it's like, I may not necessarily need to be that leader all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like my wife, she's very good at like having that presence and being able to check max and like being a much more bigger presence in the room. So sometimes it's just about like, how can I empower her?
Where's your role?
Where is my role? Am I going to be the calm person in these situations? You know, is it going to be fire and ice today? Is it going to be, you know, or like maybe she's tired of being fire and I need to be a little bit of fire and she needs to be ice, you know, like.
And it's just reminding yourself that you guys are on the same team.
Yes. That's huge because it's so easy when things start going wrong to be like, well, you, me, you know, and that's when you're not growing together. And it's so easy to fall into that.
No, it is. And it's normal too, because it does happen, but it's like, if we could do things to try to combat that and be prepared for that moment, once you start working as a team, it's like, it's fun.
Well, let me ask you this, because I know how it is, at least like with the fire side of things, but do you guys come home and feel like in the first 12 to 24 hours or whatever it is, like you're still high capping everything that went on in your shift? You feel like you're not present? Like, or is it more like you're able to just flip switches and come home and just be like, hey, you know what? Now I'm in dad mode. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about calls or things that were going on in that shift, you know, like.
To be honest, I think I had that mindset going into it. Mm-hmm. And I knew a couple people that were in law enforcement, and I knew you from the fire stuff. And I personally am able to just switch it off instantly. But another aspect of that is I come home every night.
Yeah, that's true.
You go 3 or 4 days, sometimes staying, or 5 days staying in a household with that. And that's just you 24/7, middle of the night, everything. I could come home, get a little downtime, go to sleep, wake up, drive back, and then get mentally prepared during that car ride to go back to work. And then I could unwind, relax, throw in a little zen, driving home, and then come home and be fully present here. And I've always tried to make that a point, like to really, really not be who I am at work at home.
Yeah.
And understand like, hey, this is my family, way different. There's what humbles me and keeps me happy, and that's what they deserve. Is they don't deserve me, the work me.
Yeah.
They deserve the father, the gentle, patient, loving father that's interacting with them. They don't need to have me telling them, go to your damn room. Like,
absolutely.
So it, like I said, it might be easier because of the shift work. You know, I get to come home every single night, and I'm really grateful for that. Yeah. And it would be hard as a firefighter to be gone, you know, like you are. And
it is, you know, and everybody deals with things different, and sometimes you don't see like people struggling behind the scenes, you know. But yeah, man, dude, I've just never been able to turn it off. It was something, and I think also like when you identify as something really hard, like for me, it was just like I knew without a doubt in my mind I wanted to be a firefighter, you know, and that was just something I became so obsessed with, and maybe like having to go through that process to get that full time position, having to grind it out, like it just became a part of me.
Yeah.
And so I had a big like just like a impasse, I guess, like just
Yeah.
like a crossroad, right? Where all of a sudden the job started to unravel me a little bit, and it started to take over everything where I couldn't unplug it when I came home. And that was when I noticed that I was having like a lot of problems. And so that's been a big effort for me, because I feel like sometimes I'm taking that mask off, putting it on the table, and putting on a different mask at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're wondering, like, are you being the most authentic version of yourself,
Or
are
is it
you,
just a mask?
or are you just putting on a show?
Yeah.
And so that messes with you mentally. But yeah, it hit me about I want to say 7 years in. I was out in Clara County, and we were just running. I mean, just fatals, accidents. What felt like shooting, stabbings, like just all the time, especially on nights. The volume was just intense, and I just remember like for about I think it was like 3 shifts, about 2 weeks. Like I had fatal after fatal after fatal, just crazy stuff. And then I happened to have a call where, you know, unfortunately, mom was driving home drunk with her 8-year-old in the back, and she just pinned a tree on 101. It's crazy because you think driving through a city, there wouldn't be like trees on the side of the freeway.
Yeah.
She was trapped in her car. It just, you know, it was a really gnarly call. Ended up running the whole code. And then she passed away in the car. She was pinned in. And then I didn't realize, because I remember seeing a car, like a booster seat in the back, but no kid. And I'm like, oh, thank God there's no kid in here. And then all of a sudden, like, fire comes to me and like, hey, just be advised, you got an 8-year-old in the back of your ambulance. She crawled out of the vehicle. Some passerby, or maybe it was fire, I have no idea. But she had like a shattered ankle. They threw her in the back of the rig. I just got in, left a lot of my stuff on scene. And then I went straight to Valley Medical Center. And like I'd had way worse calls than that. But I think just like what they talk about, like the bucket being full, like my bucket was just pouring over. And that was when it hit, because like prior to that, I felt like there was a culture of just like bragging about like all the crazy stuff that you went through, like, and just wearing it like a badge of merit. And like, that was just like the biggest thing, like when I started. And then you saw like the other side of it. I remember just like giving the turnover report in Valley and absolutely falling apart. I finished the turnover report. The doctor kind of looked at me because he knew I was not doing well. And then I went, like, there was this really crappy bathroom in there. I went in there and like damn near pulled the sink off the wall and just started crying. Went outside, and man, shout out to the critical incident stress debriefing team out there. This lady, Rebecca McCowick, and Martine Bustamante. They reached out to me a lot, and that was when I realized like there was something wrong. Like I was taking too much home. I was dealing with way too much. And that I didn't necessarily start going to therapy right there out the gate. I still kept tucking it away, but I had people in my corner. That was like something that I didn't ever have before. Like going in the fire service, a lot of it was just like laugh about it, joke about it at the table, high cap it, you know, to all the young guys, so they think you walk on water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like badges of merit for just how crazy the stuff that you went through. And then that was when I started just noticing a lot about myself. I noticed that I went from like being a very like happy-go-lucky social drinker to like I'd be out partying, having fun at the bars and things like that, and then all of a sudden it'd be 3:30 in the morning, and I'm like crying in my backyard, just like shouting about like stuff that I'd seen and things like that, and like my good friends like sticking around, like, damn dude, like he's kind of messed up a little bit.
You get some dark shit.
Dark, man. And so that was like waking me up to be like, okay, dude, like if you're not drinking and having fun, like something's going on. And then later on, like I'm so thankful when I got to Belmont, Chief Thrasher, he reached out to me because we had a gnarly critical call, and I started kind of just feeling really bad. And the same year, it just happened like one of the guys that was on my stress debriefing team from Santa Clara County, we weren't like best buds or anything, but like we worked night shift together. I saw him a lot. Like when I had like that horrible call, I remember him coming out and be like, "Hey man," just saying some really nice words to me. Well, then I find out like through the grapevine that like he unfortunately like took his own life, and that was really hard. Like just seeing it, and like that was like I have to walk away from Instagram every now and again because I deeply respect it that like people post like, hey, you know, this guy passed away, a nice picture of his Class A uniform, like, you know, GoFundMe's for stuff like that. But it's like, man, dude, like after you see it year after year after year, all these guys, even guys you don't even know, it just starts to wear on you. And then you start like going to these funerals and you're just like, man, I get tired of wearing this Class A uniform. And it's not even necessarily like the people that you have to bury that you knew. It can even be people that you don't know, and you're just feeling that from other stuff. And so,
bringing up the old feelings that you had when you were going through this with your own situations.
It's like, you know, and I'll try to tap into it a little later, but it's just went through that, and then I went through like losing like my first ever like senior firefighter, another guy I spent a lot of time with on the job, not necessarily off duty, but he was like the first guy. Like, I don't know if you had that guy in your jail where it's just like, that was my mentor. That was the guy I looked up to. That was the firefighter I wanted to be. Like, he was just like, had this great, like, just smile that lit up the room. Like, he was great at his job. And then unfortunately, like, he was one of the first dudes who, like, when we couldn't get jobs, got hired with an ambulance. And I was just like, man, this guy just like walks on water in my eyes. And then unfortunately, he went on to work he was working towards getting his flight medic. And he was coming home, and a car hit him on his motorcycle and killed him. And it was just like all within, I think, like 8 months. And so my chief reached out to me. He's like, hey, Joe, I know you're going through some stuff right now. He said, hey, you know, I want to try to get you the help that you can. And so he worked me through the comp process for getting my PTSD recognized, or complex PTSD. I feel stupid saying that because I know there's so many people out there that like have gone through infinitely worse, you know, like I've heard the stories of guys who've been on like massive FEMA deployments who like sleep in hallways when they get home because of all like the crazy earthquakes and shit that was going on, or the aftershocks, you know, and or guys who go to combat and deal with like crazy stuff. Like I watched the documentary In Waves and War. Holy smokes, like highly recommend it. But getting that diagnosis and getting the right things in play and actually going to therapy and actually like,
but that's a huge part of it too, is you have to be willing to address this.
And that's the hardest part, because you and especially with crutches and things like that, it's so easy to go home after a shift and just like, especially night shift, you're like, dude, I worked all night. I could totally have a beer in the morning, you know? And then it's like, oh, you know, I go have a beer and go to sleep. Or it's like, you know, stuff starts to stress you out. It just becomes like second nature, you know, or engaging in, you know, all kinds of destructive habits.
Or you're just numb to it, and you're just like, oh, this is normal shit. No, it's not.
Oh, dude, man, nobody talks you into feeling you're fine when you're not fine, like yourself, like your brain, you know. And yeah, man, like to me, like the biggest reason why I talk about it right now is like, dude, like I'm not on any like peer support teams. I'm not on CISM. I'm not on those things. But like whenever something happens with people, and especially like when you go through that, you can just see it on people's faces.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go up to them in a group of people, you know, and like want to have a talk with them. I'm probably not even going to like ask you like after something traumatic happened to like high cap it, because like I've been through all that. But it's like, hey, you know what? When everyone else isn't watching, when, you know, there isn't like this giant stress on you where you already feel abnormal because you went through something, like I'm going to reach out to you like off duty or something. I might give you a phone call and be like, hey, I'm calling to check in, you know, and just kind of like open the door for them a little bit, just to vent.
Like you don't need to talk about anything, but I just want to know that you're
absolutely doing, like, hey, how are you? How's your family? And it usually always kind of rolls into the stuff that's on their mind. You know, just asking questions and listening to people like is just like sometimes the biggest thing. And recognizing that, hey, maybe he doesn't want to talk about it, but maybe he wants to talk, or she, or, you know, like maybe they want to talk about it, you know, like something else. And just being there. And then eventually, you know, I feel like that's the true testament to being towards people, because like when something happens, everybody wants to kind of gravitate towards that person and be like, are you okay? Are you okay? And then turn around and talk to everybody else about, I talked to this person.
Just spread the tea.
Yeah, man. For me, like, I don't want my business out there, you know, and that's why it's a very vulnerable thing to be doing right now. Like, it's just that, like, even talking about this, because I know, like, this is online, this is forever. I know that, like, my brothers and sisters at the firehouse, they're going to see this, you know, and so it's like, I'm trying to just be genuine and just, you know, kind of just put myself out there, which is like, you know, me, it's just like, I used to, when I was single and stuff, and like when I had a different lifestyle, I posted all the time and I did all this stuff. But like now, as I'm getting older, as a father, thinking about what my son's going to see someday, like that just, I'm very like hesitant really like to be super involved in social media.
Yeah.
You might see me something on my story of like, maybe I had a really good fire or something, and I got some, you know, footage or whatever that's not like, you know, that's not going against a lot of our social policy. It's like up for a little bit, and then it just kind of comes down. I'm not posting like on this story a ton of stuff of just like Dragon Slayer, this, that, you know, everything. It's more just like reclusive. And it's like, I think the last actually like the postings that stick on your Instagram wall is like one of like a nice video montage for my wife. And then supporting you coming out here. I have that now on here, you know, and it's just, I guess I've just kind of become like a lot more secluded on that, you know? And so it's just, I want to try to like get that message out too. Is that like, hey man, like you're never alone. And that's what I kind of tell those guys too. When I wrap the conversation, like, hey, I hope you know that we can talk about things and I will never like share this in the table.
Yeah.
I will never, you know.
And that's the cool thing about you I've always had is just there's few that have a respect level like that. And that I could listen to anybody and really listen to someone like you're saying and keep their stuff private. I'm not going out there blowing people up, giving their business and because it's not my place.
Yeah.
And like you said, we work with a lot of people who just try to get any little thing and they go, oh, I want attention. Guess what so is happening to so-and-so? Guess why so-and-so has been quiet?
Absolutely.
And it's like, damn, that's just it. I mean, that just shows the person that they are, you know?
It is, you know, and it's unfortunate. It's, you know, going back to that whole human nature thing, and you'll see it like stuff goes down at work and then all of a sudden everybody's talking about it, you know, and it's just like, I had a situation once where like, you know, I've ran into it a couple times in my career where like I hear people talking about, you know, somebody or maybe airing their stuff out. And I'm like, hey man, like, no, that's not what we talk about right now. Like that person's going through something right now. And I think the last thing they want to know is that we're sitting here like talking about their stuff, airing it out, and not in a way that's productive towards them.
Yeah.
You know, and then like I initially like manifested it in anger, and then talking like when I get really angry, I try to call other people because they're always going to give that flip side of things. And they're always gonna be like, hey, dude, chill out for a second. Did you ever think about this or that? And so it's just like, I was approaching it wrong because it's like, in my mind, my heart was saying like, hey dude, like I love you so much that if anyone was ever talking about you, like and your issues that you may be having or going through behind your back, I'd flash on that person just as much as I'd flash on as we're having this strong worded conversation right now. And because I would expect that you would do the same thing for me. You know,
behind
like
closed doors.
100%, you know.
But yeah, that's good. I mean, that's a big reason why I wanted to start this too, is because men don't express themselves enough. And for you, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure, but I do hope a lot more people get that message that are supposed to get it. Or even if we're helping out one or two more people, like we're still doing as much as we can to let them know that they aren't alone, to let them know that there is people and outlets that they could talk to. It necessarily doesn't have to be us, but there's a lot of resources that we have in our job, our field that people can reach out to. But you have to be willing to work on yourself, to make yourself a better, to bring yourself where you were before all of this stuff that, you know, pushed you to that limit. That there is a brighter side on the other side, you know.
Absolutely.
To do better and to be happy, and you can be happy again. You could change your life, and you could create better habits. You could surround yourself with better people. You could do all the right things to bounce back. And if they didn't hear it from you, I hope they could hear it from me, or they could hear it from somebody else. And I hope there's people that are struggling with reaching out and are scared to share their true feelings, that they eventually do share their true feelings with someone. And hopefully maybe if it's your spouse, but if you don't want to show weakness, or you believe you're showing weakness to your spouse, then you reach out to someone that is close to you as a best friend or a coworker or a professional.
Well, I mean, man, it's that's a huge point too, is that it's really hard sometimes, as strange as it is, because when you get married to somebody, right, it's that whole like embodying, you know, one person, a team.
Yeah.
It's really hard to be vulnerable with that person, especially when you feel like the weight of the world is on you a lot.
Yeah,
of times.
for sure.
And so, you know, you're worried about how they're going to perceive you if you're showing cracks in your foundation. But at the same time too, like what I'm learning is like, you have to be vulnerable eventually. You have to tell them what's going on, because it's killing them just as much as it's killing you sometimes. Like the stuff that I'm going through right now is the hardest part. Is I work a lot, right? And like you're talking about, bare minimum 48 hours, right? 2 days. But deployments 14 days. I feel weird saying deployment because it's like I'm not going on a tour of Iraq, but it's like we call them deployments, 14 days at a time. But that messes with you psychologically too, because you come home, and for me, it takes sometimes days, just just to come back. And you hear the thing like, oh, it must be nice to like go work a couple of days and have a whole bunch of days off. But it's like, it might be nice.
Takes those days to like somewhat recoup.
Oh, dude. Or how about your wife at home who's just like waiting for you to be so stoked to come home, but you're so trapped in your head from the last like 48 hours going over everything. Like, dude, like some days I come home and I feel like I'm just like a ghost in a body, or I'm just like so trapped and so deep in my head that I have to like consciously like look at the trees. That's why I garden. That's why I do like, I'm always just out and about my house like a nut trying to fix every problem, not hire somebody, trying to, you know, manage all of my property and stuff. Property, I live in a suburb. But yeah, just manage everything and do it myself, because like I don't do well like idle hands by myself, staying still. And it's so crazy because like before I had Max, I used to relish those days where I come home day one, you're like, man, I'm gonna flop on the couch, I'm gonna binge watch, I'm gonna eat all this stuff. And then even when I have that opportunity, like when Max is in school or something, I have this ideology. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. But even the days that I do, it's like I might make it one show, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, and then I'm like, fuck, I'm going to go do
and then you're like, this is kind of boring.
Yeah, you know. Nothing. So it's just like, do you get that way like vacation or?
Yeah, I like sometimes my safe doing nothing is either playing a video game for like an hour, or taking a nap for like an hour. When Tatum goes to sleep, I'll tell Sam like, hey, I'm gonna take a nap too. Yeah, I'll crash out. But recently it's been like working out. To be honest, it's been really good to work out, and it brings me fulfillment that I haven't had with working out in the past. And it's just now I'm working. Now I know what is coming with it. Right, there's like I could see the results and the consequences of my workouts of what it's doing for me.
Well, dude, it's, you know, it's so crazy because like I firmly believe, someone said this to me the other day, was like, dude, with all the mental health stuff going on right now, like I feel like the vast majority of it like could be solved if everyone was just doing like 20 to 25 minutes of strenuous activity a day
and eating better,
eating better, right? Like going, like I was talking about Aubrey Marcus with the whole nicotine thing. He also said like the 3 best things you can do for your body when you get up in the morning is it's sunlight, movement, and water, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so it's like he's saying like, I'm not saying don't drink caffeine. He's like, but when you get up in the morning and it's causing like catching a lot of traction. I've seen it on social media. Is that like get a little Himalayan sea salt, a little lemon wedge, right? Put it in your water, right? You're breathing all night. You're going to be dehydrated, dry mouth. Prime the system, right? Like getting back to fire nerd stuff, right? Like your pump don't run if you don't prime it with water, right? Mm-hmm. So like prime the system, get that going with your gut, get your gut health going, get everything neutralized in your belly, like because that's what the acid does, right? Is it kind of, you know, does whatever with pH, like in your stomach, and then get out and get some sunlight, vitamin D, right? Like for me, getting out and just being in the sun, like we just put a stock tank pool in our backyard in the last couple of years, and like just being in the water and just hanging out, like it's such a game changer. And the movement, like you don't necessarily have to get up and do like sprints and 40-40s, but like even like depending on where your age is at, like going for a walk or, you know, whatever it is, like just getting out and moving the body, like that's like the best thing you do to start your day. And then have your coffee, then have your Zen, you know, then have, you know, whatever it is. Speaking of that, I might take a little topic. Yeah, man.
That's cool.
And that's where like your message is coming into, dude. Like I really like what you're doing. I have not been out to one of Isaiah's workouts yet. I'm gonna come, I promise. But yeah, it's just for me, like I was thinking about this the other day because I get so like guilty. I'm like, man, dude, I should be up there like working out with him. I love his message. It's really hard though because like when you're spending all that time with no break in a firehouse, it's like when I come home, the only thing I want to do is just like seclude or maybe just have some time to myself.
Oh yeah.
And like we do a lot. Like it's so crazy like to see what you're doing because a lot of that is actually like implemented in the firehouse. You know, guys love to do crew workouts. My stuff has just kind of changed because over the years, like between the torn labrum, the dislocated shoulder, the broken hand, the broken foot, like all this stuff, it's just like I kind of got to be really cognizant of what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So like I used to love HIIT workouts. I used to love CrossFit. And that's what kind of makes me hesitant to get back into jiu-jitsu. I'm going to eventually do it, but is that, you know, the sick leave balance, right? Yeah. Like, you know, hurting yourself and things like that. So for me, like I've had to call a hot route in that field for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But it'll get in due time. Things will happen. And,
yeah.
You know, you can't force it, or we know our body and we have things depending on us.
Yeah.
With our paychecks and our work.
Absolutely.
Load,
you know,
so.
but Yeah, like the guys are doing like group workouts, and then we sit and talk so much around the table, like with coffee, and like, man, dude, like we have a joke where it's like 90% of the world's problems are solved around the firehouse table because like everybody's got we just did this, we just did that, like so I get like a lot of that dose. So it's like almost by the time I get home, I just started doing in the last like month is like, if Max is in school, I'll go straight to the driving range at Coyote Creek. I'll start smacking balls, dude.
You were telling me.
I'm an awful golfer, but like
it's still something to do,
dude. It's something. It's that moment where I can just sit there. I could put a podcast on if I want, or I could put a book on, or I can just be there in silence, just like hitting things. And then I come home like so much more like mellow, able to kind of rather than just coming in as this dominating presence with this like
fuck, what are we doing today?
Oh, dude,
I'm tired.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me coffee. Why isn't my breakfast?
Yeah. The dishwasher's not unloaded. Just
creating a positive presence. But that's cool. Before we end it, I forgot to give you this at the beginning, so I've been given a little pin to the peeps. So it hurts me to buy that kind of stuff.
Yeah, baby. Niners, let's go, baby. We got Deebo Samuel back this year. That's gonna be interesting, man.
But yeah, man, I feel like we could talk for
dude, it's
more
already 11
and more.
o'clock. Holy smokes.
We've talked for 3 hours.
Holy dude.
It's honestly, I looked when it was at 2, and then I looked up again and it was like 2:45. It's like, but it just
blinked, man.
I love you, and talking to you is just like a breeze, and it's so easy, right?
Well, dude, I came in here all nervous with the cameras and everything, and then I just felt like we were literally just sitting here having a conversation.
Yeah,
like
and it's like the coolest thing when I texted you, I was like, I can't wait to hang out. And I'm like,
oh, dude,
that's what it is. Like, I don't know if I always say this on the podcast too, is like the dynamic of talking here is like, even you getting all that out. Like, I appreciate you for sharing what you shared, and it's just a whole different dynamic of conversation. Like, we've had these conversations.
Oh, dude, yeah,
we've freaking had beers, crying, singing country songs.
I think I pretty much passed out on my laptop one time 3 in the morning when I found this dude listening to I don't know what music.
Shit.
Man,
fire away,
fire away, dude. Stapleton, dude. That music video kills you, man.
Yeah, but it's just to put it here. It's like I feel like it's a cool dynamic, and it's been something that I've liked, putting on, and a lot of people have been hitting me up and enjoying it, and it's cool, and they get different perspectives of life, and just lets them know that they're not in this fight alone, and there's a lot of people. Man. Yeah,
I really am. I really I'm thankful that you even considered me for this. Like, I was so happy and just so stoked to see everything that you're doing these days, and it kind of goes back to like when I heard that you want to be a police officer. It's like I'm on there like studying, like trying to find study guides for you. You know? Like,
no, I remember.
It's just
like look at this. I think you even bought me something too.
I did, yeah. I sent it to you. Yeah, that's right, on Amazon. Yeah,
that's crazy.
But man, dude, yeah. So this is such a great thing that you're doing, man. I love the message. I love what you're doing out here. So I mean, me, like there's nothing I wouldn't do for you, pal. And,
yes, sir. Thank you, bro.
After this whole process, dude, it's been great. It's almost like just sitting here like we normally do.
Yeah, just a good times. So. Yeah. I love you, Joe, and thank you for everything you do. Appreciate you, man.
Heck yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Everybody, that's episode 8. Good old 3 hours. Hope if you guys made it this long, you're a real one, but a lot of good knowledge. Just, if you ever need anything from the fire perspective, Joe is there for you guys. Just reach out to me, and I can reach out to him, and we'll get that squared away. But thank you guys for listening to another episode. 8 episodes down. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
See you guys later.
We'll have to take a picture too.